Don't trust Haitians. Don't trust them.
Don't trust them.
I mean, you can't trust the Dominican either. We share the island. So
Who's worse?
we're both as bad.
You know what? Hold on. Start the episode.
Okay.
We got
We're both as bad.
Let's go.
You know, it's like the two siblings that don't get along when
they
they're
try
together.
to outdo each other.
Yeah, like it's
I can have more wives than you.
It's
I have more families than you.
pretty much.
I have more love child.
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't. Nobody even knows about the one I got in Port-au-Prince.
Ooh.
There you go.
Okay. Episode 77. Welcome to another episode of Please Delete This. Yeah. All right.
Child.
I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to
How to
do
do
our
this?
intro.
Yeah, you're bad at this.
Yeah. No, I'm terrible.
All right, let's do
So
it.
in the building we got Darren,
Blank.
Genevieve,
Genevieve.
and we have some special guests with us.
You rushed it a little bit, but you're getting better.
I did a little bit.
You get better.
Can you intro them? Because I don't know how to do that part.
Ay, jeez. We know what happened last time I tried this.
Yeah.
All right, let's start again.
And today.
And then today in the building, we have special guests.
Yes.
The members of SparkUp PVD podcast have joined us.
Yes.
And so,
It's
ladies
actually-
and gentlemen.
Actually, I'm going to correct you real quick. It's SparkUp Providence. Listen. You see, I listen.
No,
It just isn't.
he tried it. I'll give you the A for effort.
Okay.
It's the SparkUp Podcast, formerly known as SparkUp PVD.
It was something.
Okay.
She was the closest.
I mean, we're
I gotta
still
give it to her,
SparkUp
man.
PVD on like apps and stuff, so
Yeah.
that counts.
Nevertheless, we have
Go ahead and
friends with
introduce
us.
yourselves the right way.
SparkUp. SparkUp
No,
is
we
good.
don't messed it up.
So we have Cristina,
No,
Regina.
nothing to do with themselves. We're bad at this. Go ahead.
You can do it.
You already know what it is. Your boy Banz alongside Regina and Cristina. We have a SparkUp Podcast featuring Please Delete This. What's popping?
So he took,
Featuring-
So he took over. He took over our podcast.
He just put his whole different voice
Whole
on.
thing.
We've been talking to him for like a half an
Right.
hour.
It got all loud. It was like a different
That shit
filter.
was
He put on his own
wild.
filter, and then he told us it was them featuring us
In your house.
in my house.
It's great.
Which
This is
is,
like Christopher Columbus
it's a
all over
lovely
again. This is
house.
how,
Oh,
this is how Indian. What'd you say?
this is a lovely house. Do you have a front door?
No. So the
You
stupid
don't.
people, they moved the front. It used to be there, and then they moved it to the sides.
I was
so
wondering
that's
about
when I
that.
was.
so
when
it's
I
a
was
side
side
door,
door.
not a front
Yes.
door.
So I have to tell
Interesting.
everybody park in the driveway because the door's on the side.
So there's
I
no
was
door in
walking
the
around
front?
looking for the front door, and there wasn't
Actually,
one.
stupid enough. There's no door.
That's a lot of stupid enough things.
There's no door in the front, but there's a doorbell
Oh my
in
god.
the front.
in the front.
But you gotta walk through the grass
Yeah.
to get to it.
And it's funny
'Cause
when I
you
see
shouldn't be
people
going
do it.
there.
Did you do it?
No,
Okay, good. When I see people doing it, I'm like, look at you.
I heard crickets or whatever those animals are out there, and I was like,
No.
Whatever those
I'll wait in
animals.
the driveway.
I pulled into the wrong driveway. The way people were looking at me like, who's that?
All right, so let's start over.
Okay.
Go ahead, Banz. Do your thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
That was just great. Go
Because
ahead.
we're featured.
Again.
You already know what it is. Your boy Banz alongside Regina and Cristina. We have the SparkUp Podcast.
Right.
And today we're on this Please Delete. I can't even talk right now.
this intro is becoming quite
It's great.
a phenomenon.
And this is why we just let go and let
Just
God.
let it be free.
Let go and let
Let
go.
go and let God. Yeah.
This is hilarious. Shout outs to y'all
Yeah.
for bringing us
Why
on.
are you
having
gonna
us,
shout us
yes.
out on our podcast? This is amazing.
I love it.
You see what happens when you're not here, Ben? We have guests with us, and we love them, and they love us. And yes, that's all that matters, people.
Facts.
Rhode
Thank you
Island
for
town
joining
in
us.
the
This is so
building.
much fun already.
Yes,
It's been like
yes.
2 minutes. I can't.
Right. And then also, this is the most amount of guests we've had in one showing.
Hey, best way to do it.
Right. We've never had 3 people.
We never had 5 mics on.
No.
This is dope.
Very.
First time for everything.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Thank you.
having us.
Oh, we love it. We're excited. Brother Bim, unfortunately, is not with us this week. He is spending time with his son, as if that's more important than being with the podcast. So we asked the SparkUp Podcast to join us this week, and they happily obliged. And so we have a ton of liquor. I was super excited when I saw Miss Regina. I was like, "Oh my God, you have locks!" And she was like, "They're fake." And I was like, "Damn."
Okay, I just
Wow.
didn't want like
Wow.
She could have lied
I
to me
didn't
for
want
the
him
whole
to like
duration.
see me
Like,
somewhere and be like, "Hey," and I have
Your
like
locks. Yeah.
a whole different hairstyle. I just feel like that just would have been a lie. It would have hurt you more because you would have sat with
yes,
it.
I appreciate you not.
Well, I love that your faux locks are so nice
They-
that someone with real locks thought they were real.
Yeah, well, but I suck at picking out like Are you good at picking out like women with not like it's not their hair?
I don't think.
Somewhat, yeah.
You good at it?
I mean, a lot of these girls are walking around with mismatched hair.
Wow.
Not mismatched hair.
Yeah, and you
Oh,
see it
shit.
from a mile. You
Look
know
at
what I'm talking
her.
about.
Yo,
She knows. She knows. You see,
face.
you see her reaction?
Mismatch hair.
What does it mean?
Leather and cotton.
Also, I did cosmetology, so I have.
No, did
Yeah.
you? Because my nails are
He
still
always says
undone.
that.
I'm not doing that
He
stuff.
always says he does cosmetology, but we've
I
never
did.
seen
I
him
got-
with a
I got-
brush.
I dead ass
But
got a
where's
license.
the portfolio? Like,
Damn.
You don't
She said
need a
portfolio.
She's like, we
portfolio.
need the facts.
Go.
and he don't want to do our nails.
Did
so
you practice at Paul Michel?
No.
Empire?
I had the greatest teacher though. Her name's Marie Pastine. I don't know if she's still alive.
Passine?
But Pastine.
why are you saying she?
Yeah.
That you know she's still alive?
She was
Wasn't
like-
that long ago.
Was she
She was
80 then?
older. She was older.
Like 80?
No.
No.
So
Like,
she be
I'd be
dead.
like her
Maybe
60s.
like early 60s, but she was like,
So you're killing her off
So
at
wait,
70?
wait. He learned from somebody like when she was 60, and then what? 3 years later, you're like, is she dead yet?
No,
no,
not 3
no,
years
it's
later.
been. I'm
been
a
a minute.
dinosaur.
You
It's
ain't no
been,
dinosaur.
it's
You
been
ain't
like
older than
12,
me.
12 years since high school.
That's it?
12 years?
I
Yeah.
thought it was 20.
You want
Damn.
to leave? You want to go? All
You
right.
see, she's already adding age to me.
He's at 12 years since high
Can you
school.
just add more to this cup?
I don't even remember high school no more. B.
Sure.
No sir.
The friendship cup.
You know,
Barely.
they said to I saw a thing. It's 20 years since Providence Place Mall opened.
I saw that. I remember that opening.
We were in
Me
school
too.
when that.
Yes.
We were in high
I was
school
in
together.
elementary
Wait,
school.
what? What's
Oh my
that?
God.
Listen,
20
did you hear what he
years
said?
since,
Yeah, I heard
Providence
that.
Place Mall opened.
I was in the 5th grade.
Yeah, we were in high school walking to the mall together.
I think I was in the 3rd grade.
Oh my God. This is like
It was
Scarlet all
what,
over again.
1998, right?
Oh my God.
99?
Jesus.
It was like 99.
Regina, how old are you?
Oh, yeah,
If
I was
you don't have to say it. Like in event years, how old are you?
Not in event
I'm
years.
26. It's okay. Women can say their ages.
Yeah, but why is it a thing with women? Like, don't
I
ask me
don't
how
know
old I
why
am.
it's a thing, but like when people ask me, I just tell them
Yeah.
my age.
I'm proud of my age too.
You 26 too?
27.
I don't think any of us are old enough to want to hide that yet.
Well, I
also,
say
like,
I'm
But
22.
it's a blessing.
We're gonna
though.
look
you say?
young. You know?
I say that I'm
So-
22.
You're not no damn 22.
Come on, I feel 22.
Damn.
I feel 22.
Yeah, you only as old
What
as
did
you feel.
That's right.
How old do you feel?
Like 60.
Oh,
Sorry to hear that.
So this is gonna be like a terrible episode. So if you guys are listening, just lower your expectations, like
Wow.
lower.
I mean,
than
that's
they
why it's
usually
called
are.
Please Delete This, right?
Exactly.
But then we never delete anything.
No.
You know, Darren's a problematic one, and he'll say stuff that should be blurred out or deleted,
Nah.
and then he does all the posting, and he doesn't delete it.
No.
So-
I leave it in. That's how I got 4 kids.
Wow.
You should probably change
Double
your lifestyle.
entendre.
I should. I should.
But
have
also,
4?
you do what you want to do.
I mean, you're right. She's like embracing, but also
Not
like,
embracing. I'm just gonna go
Embrace
home
and
because-
judge.
Don't go home.
It's like a judgmental embrace.
It is. So listen, guys, tell us about yourself because we know like little to like we know a lot, but we can't. Okay, we don't know that much clearly. But tell us about yourself. How'd you guys meet? Tell us about your podcast and all that good stuff. Stop playing on your phone, man.
Come on, I'm
You're
I'm
coming
going
up.
to shout
Banz,
out.
He's
Where's-
buzzing.
Buzz.
I
Right?
play on my phone all the
Ah,
time.
you're trying
Don't
to-
let him judge you.
You're trying to set up something for later. All
All
right.
right, come on.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
I guess I'll start.
Mm-hmm.
So Ruben and I are cousins.
Yeah.
So we met back in 1991, which was when I was born. Regina and I met through my cousin. They were suite mates at suite mates, right?
Mm-hmm.
At URI, and
Ew.
I hit up Rudy. Shout out to Rudy.
Shout out to Rudy. We gotta have him on the show.
Rude
too.
boy, you know,
Rude boy.
is another fellow.
Another good Haitian.
Yeah, there you go.
Shout out to Rudy.
Hope
Hope
I hit
he's
him up
doing
to
better.
do it originally, but it never fell through, and he ended up starting his own thing. So I was telling Ruben about it, and then he was like, "Let's do it," and I was like, "All right." So he started looking for studios, and we tried this one studio. Shout out to Flip. That one didn't really work out for us. Then where did we go from there? I think that was we
BO8?
saw like 2 studios, and then we found BO8, and we were at BO8 for like 2 years. And then for a little while, we did the Juice. What is it? Music Fiend.
Oh yes.
We did Music Fiend for
Yeah, I
like 2
remember that,
months.
yeah.
Then we went back to BO8. And yeah.
And we've been there since.
The grind ever since. I like it.
So how many episodes do you guys have? I saw you guys break it up into seasons. So it's like a 2-part question. How do you determine where's the start and end of a season, and how many seasons are you in, and how many episodes?
What are we at? 80 something?
82?
See that flex,
six?
Jen? You see that flex?
He's
Let them live.
All right.
I mean, you guys are almost at 82.
That's a lot.
We like break seasons up. It feels like by semesters.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
that's easy way to do it.
Yeah, it's just easier to remember
Yeah.
because by the end of fall, it's like the holidays, so we stop.
Got it.
We start back up in the new year, and then we start for the summer.
Got
So
it.
quarterly, yeah. That makes sense.
That's cool.
I like it. For a new listener to your podcast, what can they expect to hear?
I'm only laughing because I always
Like-
think
like,
of Ruben.
Yeah, Banz is like, can I answer? Can I answer? Let me answer. I
Well,
got
go
this.
ahead.
You guys, I'll let the women speak.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
now
Here
you want
go.
to let us speak. Every other time you got something crazy to say. Now you want to let us speak.
This is what goes on the
This
podcast.
is what they can expect. Us jumping Ruben.
We are not jumping Ruben. That is a lie.
He makes
Actually,
people think that.
So
It's
I-
all spin.
I've listened to some episodes, and when we thought about having you guys on, I said, okay, so Ruben is the one who gets
Not Ruben. I'm out.
I said he's the one who gets overpowered very, very easily by you two. And so I'm like, oh, so Ruben's like the me of the
Is it
group.
overpowered or refined? Let's really put better.
We're
Better words.
we're helping
Words.
him improve, like his lifestyle,
He
everything.
gets wild. You're also not like
His
saying the wild
mindset.
things that come out of his mouth. And
That's-
we have to,
That's neither here
refine.
nor there. I'm here for my brother Ruben.
I understand.
There's
Everyone
always one.
always is.
Yeah,
There's
there's
always
always
somebody.
one.
There's always somebody riding for Ruben. Hey,
Until
that
they
should-
find
that
out
should be
the
on the
truth.
shirt. But you go by Banz though.
Riding for Ben.
Bands.
Yeah,
Bands make it dance.
yeah.
I mean, but besides us acting up, what they can expect is just us really sitting down and sharing our experience about a topic. So like, we've had one about like, how do you know your purpose? And so we'll talk about our purpose and what it is and give each other advice, drop gems. And we also act up, be
Yeah.
goofy, have guests.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had from your favorite talent in the city to doctors. So you know what I mean. We're just trying to
Chefs,
bring
comedians,
things to the table
actors.
that exactly like we're trying to bring things to the table that nobody really like when it comes to a podcast that are bringing guests up. Like we want to share our platform with people that have a voice. Have a voice, but aren't getting it across to the masses.
Got it.
So
And that's a great use of your platform. That's I think when we started out, I wanted to do something like that, and then we just
We were like, nah.
yeah, let's just talk shit.
Our first guest actually reached out to us, and we were all just kind of shocked looking at the phones, like in the DM. We're like, "What
Yeah,
do we?
what do you mean he wants to be on the show? Like,
Would we say yes? Would we
yeah,
ask
I don't
him?
know.
You know,
Yeah. So we had no idea, but
it worked out.
But again, listening to you guys, I can see like you guys. The first thing I notice is you guys have a
Structure.
Connection?
structure, an agenda. I think you say agenda all the time. Like you didn't get the email. I hear you guys say it all the time, and I'm like, what's structure mean? I don't know what that word means.
I think it's a French word. I don't know.
Like, Jean-François. That's how you say it. Anyway, but you guys are very informative. You guys talk about like topics that like actually require thought and discussion, and you guys all have different viewpoints on it. And it's pretty dope to hear and see. And you guys have a plethora of guests, and I think that's also super positive because it's sharing a platform with those who don't have a voice, like you said. Too bad we can't. We do things like that. Or we attempt to give voices to other people.
I mean, but everybody's different.
Yeah,
Indeed.
everybody's platform is different. It really depends what you're trying to do with it. If you just want to sit around and talk junk
yeah.
and talk about how Haitians are horrible, well, then you do that. But if you want to get together and have people come on your platform and talk what they do, then you do that. We're all not meant to be the same. Again, I'm just here as the messenger.
Can I
You
address?
can't even wait. You can't even wait.
Can I address the elephant in the room?
Yes.
So, Darren said he was Haitian. Regina said, "Okay, I gotta leave." So can we
Make
talk
peace.
about this?
Let's talk about Regina's problem with
No, Regina.
Regina's problem with Haitians because I'm just not getting what your problem
Some
is.
of my favorite people are Haitian.
Some.
And then
Like
some
Wyclef?
And then-
of
and
my
then-
arch nemesis are also Haitian.
Okay, so give me an example of an arch nemesis of yours that is Haitian. You don't even have to give names.
Okay, no, I'm
But-
not going to give names.
Yeah, but just what about them makes them your arch nemesis?
They're scammers.
All right, cool. It's a good thing Ben's not here then, huh?
Hey, 419.
Nigerians are scammers too. Not all of them. Like
But
90. Like,
You're making it worse.
okay.
Stop.
Like 94%.
Stop.
94 sounds accurate.
I will say another question that's popped in my head. She said sounds accurate. That's funny. Who has been your favorite guest that you guys have interviewed? Because again, you guys have interviewed a ton of
Didn't
people.
I say this yesterday? What did I say was my favorite guest?
They have.
No, we talked about favorite moment, not favorite guest.
And you guys are out there too. You guys like everywhere. Like,
Are we?
Yeah. You guys had Port-au-Prince.
Did you say Port-au-Prince?
No,
You just want her to fight you.
I do.
You want her to fight you in your own home.
I'm already sick to my stomach, to be quite frank.
If there's an insult that I've ever heard, it's that. You make me sick to my stomach. That's like a little worse than you look so dumb right now. Anyways, so yes, who's been your favorite guest?
Dang, you can't think of any?
There's so many. Put her on the spot. Ruben, Banz, Buns.
Buns.
My favorite guest.
I have to cheat and look it up.
I'm just gonna go with the cool people because that was also my favorite moment.
The cool people.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're a wrestling team.
a wrestling team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They wrestle.
Yeah.
Wow.
like
They're
professionally.
professional.
Wow.
Like WWE, like the
Wow.
minor leagues of
How did
WWE.
you guys
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
manage that? That's another thing I don't know how to do is get people to come.
You
Like,
just keep your eye out to the streets and look at who's buzzing.
Mm-hmm. And just
Yeah.
kind of connect them with them. Try to instead of being like, yo, come on my
Regina's
show.
deep in
You're
thought.
like,
Regina's
come
like, hey,
come through, have fun. Hey.
It's funny because
No.
Darren wanted to try to get the lady who does the leg choking, but
So excuse me.
the lady
come on, you guys saw it.
there's a lady who's on Twitter,
I know Ruben saw it. I
No,
know
he
and
Ruben saw it.
she was. I guess there's guys who have a fetish of getting choked by a woman's legs.
Nah,
So
that's-
she does like a handstand. We posted it on Instagram. Go check it out.
I seen
think I
that.
saw
Yeah,
it.
you guys
I
are
seen
always
that,
posting
but-
something.
And apparently,
But
she's rooted in Rhode Island or something.
No,
What?
she's
Really?
she's from Rhode Island, but
Yeah.
she moved to like Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Talk that talk, you know.
But I do.
Yeah,
I
'cause
stalked
he's
her
the one-
for like
he
a
did-
good hour.
He
Like,
did the
Yeah,
research.
that's how you find guests.
yo, I was on
Stalk
Twitter
them.
like hard. Like, I was like, guys, so she has a sister that does something similar to this. Can we try to get her on? And then I was gonna send her a message, but oh no, the message
No,
sounds
I
too
said
creepy.
don't. Oh no, I said Darren, before you send the message to her, send it to us so we can proofread it because you're a creep.
maybe
Well-
a niche is doing something like Howard Stern, getting all these weird types of people.
See?
Not Howard.
You know what I mean? Like,
Nah,
you know
Howard
how Howard Stern will get the
It's out
crackhead
there.
off the
Right.
street and bring him in, like,
Gotta keep
and he asks questions like, "Hey, how much doses of crack did you did this week?" And they're like, "Oh, I did like $200."
I did a bump before
yeah.
I went to work, and I said good morning.
Working hardly working. Well, cool. I feel like I have other questions, but I can't think of them at the moment.
Oh
Do you have other questions?
no,
All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you for coming.
That was
usually
it.
that's Bim's job.
I just Bim has
Bim's,
great
Bim's
questions.
the great interviewer,
Yes.
and he's not here unfortunately.
No.
We're trying our best.
Come
We're
on.
trying our best.
Yeah.
That's the title of the episode. We're trying,
trying our best to
Well,
hold it
when did you
together.
guys start this podcast? I'm like, new
A
to
year and a
it, but-
half,
A year and a half ago,
It was-
actually, we kicked off Black History Month in
2018.
the worst way possible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we just like you guys. I think we have our conversations, and we're like, yeah, we're funny. You know, we should like make a platform out of this. And then I was like, yeah, we're gonna be positive in the community, and we're gonna do great things. And then like the first 5 minutes, I was like, that's not gonna happen at all. Like we swear, we cuss, we make fun of people profusely, we make fun of each other profusely as well. But we have a good time, and it's just all fun and games, and we try to be serious. No, we are serious. We're serious. We talk about things.
We do all kinds of things.
We do.
So each of us has our own thing. Darren's the cancer. Darren's the emotional one. He's the messy one. He was.
Are you
Oh,
Cancer?
Team Cancer.
yeah.
I'm just gonna get out of here.
Regina,
Go.
you
Yeah,
can't
it's
leave.
time to go.
You can.
Yeah.
Wow, both of you now. Huh?
A cancer,
Cancer
cannot
too.
do
Yeah.
What's wrong with cancers?
everything.
We got wow.
Nothing's wrong
In
with us.
unison,
They just
too.
mad.
Everything.
Listen, they just mad
They
at
just
us.
mad.
It is a hot mess on this side of the room. I'm just feeling like it's more. It's like an elevated level now, knowing these things.
Y'all from the same island.
I feel,
Y'all the same zodiac sign.
I am
my
just.
God, though. I feel like they think that we're just sitting here like cancer power.
I am sick.
Excuse
That's
me.
basically what's happening.
And then you share tears.
Right.
And you guys are laughing at the same joke.
They
Like, you
collect
see what's
them.
happening?
They collect
Ugh.
their tears.
We're cry
Sick.
brothers. Ah! But yeah,
Wait, hold on.
So you
Slow
feel all the
down.
feels.
he feels all the
I feel
feels.
all the feels.
Yeah, but
Regina doesn't
but
want
there's
to
different
she don't wanna
types
look at you, stop
of
looking at me.
cancers.
I don't wanna
What
do
type
this.
of cancer are you?
The messy type. He's messy as fuck.
Oh.
It's because he's emotional.
I'm nosy.
He's
Okay,
mad
so
Okay,
nosy.
we're all
I'm
nosy. We're all
We're all
nosy.
nosy. Okay.
But it's different levels. You know what I mean? If you're earlier
I see what
cancer,
you
it
mean.
might
No,
be
no.
a little
Like
more
I'm
extreme.
like mid. Like I'm the 11th.
Oh,
Oh
so
my
we share birthday. I'm dead serious.
What are these?
Yo,
July
July 11th. That is wild. Hey.
I never met
If
somebody
anybody
that
wants to
should.
grab me a
Well,
bucket,
we had
I could probably just
one of
go
our
up right
cousins has the same birthday, but she was born
This is a
like
mess.
3 years ago. So
Really?
July 10th. And then my brother's is July 12th.
no, and
don't jump in.
Amy's daughter is the
getting
11th
Wait, so
too.
what are you two? I know
Mm-hmm.
you're
I know you're
Gemini-
confident. I was
Gemini.
gonna say, what the hell?
Gemini.
Gemini.
You can trust a
I'm
Gemini
a-
with your life.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You can't though. You
Look at me.
I'm a Sagittarius.
no
Look at me.
no.
I
November?
love Sagittarius.
No. January. Or
November.
November.
Most of my best friends are
I'm a
Sagittarius.
Scorpio.
You fiery and passionate.
Oof.
My boo's a Scorpio. See, I rock with this
There
side
you
of the
go.
room. Y'all
Scorpio
cool
and
too?
Geminis actually really get along.
Scorpios and Cancers get along even better.
They
we're
do,
both,
actually.
we're both shell
I'm a
creatures.
Gemini rising if that makes us closer.
I don't know what that
It
means.
I bump heads with all cancers.
Damn.
All the cancers
We
in
bump
my
heads
life.
all the time.
Yeah.
You got,
Yo, you
you're
could
also
be-
a Taurus moon. It depends. The moon sign is what really like
We're getting
solidifies
deep in
it.
this,
I'm a
guys.
Cap moon.
Yeah, Cap
Something about retrograde and Mercury.
Man,
I be seeing that on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know what that's
I'm like,
about.
y'all had a
lost.
bad day. You want to blame Mercury?
Yeah. Some girl said that. She's like, I can't wait till this retrograde passes by.
like,
I'm
It's
telling you, your
I'm
chakras
like,
be
lady,
all
just
out of
take a
place.
nap.
Chakras, huh?
All out of
We're
line.
going there, huh?
You can't have it.
Shout out to Chip Doug. I feel like this is a
Chip Doug.
conversation you should do. Okay, guys. Off to the bullshit that we've been talking.
So, no, I want to ask some more questions.
Okay, ask some more.
So, you guys have been doing this for a while, and you guys have done something that we're going to attempt for the first time next week, which is a couple of live shows. Do you have any pointers or anything that you might want to share, some gems? Because, like I said, we haven't done it before, and we're kind of nervous.
To be honest,
Oprah
whether
voice.
there's 3 people or 300 people, just try to act like those people there are familiar faces.
Where's it
'Cause
gonna
if
be?
not, you'll be
Rosendale.
The Rosendale, 7 p.m.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
intimate.
You guys can come through. I know Thursdays are busy for you guys, though, right?
When is it?
Next Thursday. Matter of fact, the 29th, next Thursday.
Oh, he's going to plug. That's his forte.
At Rosendale,
There you
or at
go.
Rosendale. At 7 p.m., we'll be doing our first live podcast. Definitely come
Yeah.
down and join us. It is free. If you want to, please register so we can get a head count. Eventbrite.com. Search, please, delete this. Register for the event. It's free. And there's an after party afterwards.
Ooh.
Reggae.
Reggae night.
A
Thursday night
studio?
vibes.
Oh yeah, it's right
with,
there.
With L. It's right there. It's built into it. So come out for the labs.
You don't
stay
even have
for
to leave the
party.
building. You can park in one spot. You don't have to
Right.
move your car.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and the DJ that was there last time we went there
He
was
was killing it,
Martin.
Right. Yeah, Martin the famous.
Yeah, it was
He's
Yeah.
nice.
killing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
so-
night was lit. That was for my birthday.
Yep.
July
July
11th.
11th.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Well, our birthday.
There you go,
7-Eleven.
transferring that power.
There you go. Yep.
Free Slurpee Day.
Is it?
Yeah.
It sounded, that
Facts.
sounded
Oh,
kind of dirty when you
7-Eleven.
said it.
It does.
It sounded,
Hey.
sounded dirty. It did. It's pretty
Hey,
slurpy.
it's
though.
not bad for your birthday. Get a free Slurpee. I'm with it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I get a free Slurpee.
I guess the advice I would give to you, because we were talking about being nervous, and I'm always nervous too. Regina's the performer though, so she never gets nervous.
She's the star.
I would
Nothing.
say
Get a star.
Nothing of the
Just-
sorts.
act as if you're here,
Ah.
but over amplify it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because if you're too chill, people will just be like,
You
Let's
be
just start
chill with
talking.
you gotta give them a show.
Yeah.
Like, show your ass.
Got it.
And I feel like that will
Like
make you
literally.
It's always out. It's always out. So that's
That'll be a good way to kick it off.
I got a long shirt today. I'm excited.
But I think if you have in your mind like I'm putting on a show, it makes you less nervous because you're not really yourself. You're this character.
Got it.
So
Just be yourself
yeah,
and show your ass.
Have a
And how-
shot before you go out there.
Have a shot.
Oh yeah, I want to do a group shot,
Have a
like
shot.
with the crowd.
And don't have like dead silences, because that's awkward for
Right.
live
know.
shows.
that's
That
why
you just stop
structure is
talking.
important.
Yeah, no. I don't even know how to. What is that word you said again? How do you say it?
Structure.
Sure.
It's
You're
just-
gonna need it,
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
especially when people are watching you. If you don't have like a game plan and you're kind of trying to talk out of your ass, you think you can do it until
Till you
Yeah.
there.
Get there.
you're in front of these people, and then you guys have dead silences, and people are like, okay, so what are they talking about?
Yeah, you're right.
And then they start interjecting.
Okay.
Or they start talking over you.
Oh, that'd be bad.
You
Yeah.
don't want that.
That's bad.
You want their full attention the whole time.
Be captivating.
Yeah.
Got it.
Win
Interesting.
them over.
You'll be fine.
See, look at the vote of confidence we got.
Thanks, guys.
And Rosendale's a small, intimate space.
Yeah,
so
that's a perfect space for that.
it's not too big. There's not a big stage, no crazy lights. Unless y'all are having like lights set up.
But
Yeah, just be yourselves. Be
Maybe go
fun.
there.
Yeah.
Have a good
I
time.
think it'll be fun. I'm excited.
It is fun. It's a nice spot.
Anything else, John?
How do we feel about this whole Jay-Z? Because I talked about it last week.
Lord.
Yes.
And I feel like I wasn't explaining myself right.
No.
And our audio last week got kind of jacked up, so I'm going to bring it up again. And I'm saying, I love the NFL. I never boycotted from jump.
Can you explain it from jump?
I'm going to try, but we know I just read headlines. I don't read actual articles.
That's
but
terrible. So you don't.
you
You
don't
just
get the full story.
This is pretty much what we do. We give you half information.
I am
you
sick.
can go research the rest
You
of it.
feel the bullshit behind it.
Sick.
But, me personally, everyone who knows me knows I love football. I've been watching it since I was a little kid with my brothers. So I never did the boycott thing. But I respect people who do the boycott because I understand where it's coming from. I've also supported Cap and everything that he's done. I bought the $50 Nike t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? And I love Jay-Z. I love his albums. So I'm on everybody's side. And I
No.
feel like in the society that we're in, everyone always has to pick a side. No, well, wait a minute.
I got you, I'm
Shaking
here.
head Regina. Wait a minute.
I'm here.
But when
That's
Jay-Z
enough.
said that he was partnering with the NFL, I was confused. Because I'm like, you went out of your way to say you're not performing at the Super Bowl. You made a stance. We all supported you in your stance. And you were a hero to the culture for taking a stance and sticking to it. And now you're taking the complete opposite stance. And you want to still be a hero to the culture because now you're reaching across the aisle and working with the NFL. So I'm like, which is it? You pick one or the other. I don't care. But when you're flip-flopping, then it confuses me. And I'm like, why is it all of a sudden a different narrative? And maybe I'm missing something in the story. But to me, all I see is when you perform for the Super Bowl, you don't make money. When you're producing the Super Bowl halftime show, you do. And that's the difference for Jay-Z. He's making money, so now it's different. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I kind of felt the same way you felt at first. Like, he threw shots at the NFL and the Super Bowl. They don't need me. I don't need them. They need me.
Right.
And Rihanna didn't take the deal, and everyone was mad at Travis Scott for performing. So when Jay-Z did that, I was upset about it at first, but then I started thinking about all the recent moves he's been making, like opening up is it CBD? Is that what it's called? Like what
Cannabis.
the new name they're calling weed?
Yeah.
Opening up weed shops and hiring black men who can't get jobs, felons, and he's recently become a billionaire, and now we're watching him make moves for black people. Him and Beyonce started a scholarship program. Most of the proceeds from their last tour went to black kids going to college. So all the moves that he's been making, I feel like there's a bigger picture and he has something up his sleeve. And I feel like the only way that black people can really make power moves is if we're on the same level, which is something Kanye's trying to do too.
Right, and that's
but
the
people
other
don't
thing.
look at it that way
Exactly.
because he says crazy
Because
things.
I'm like, to me, it's very similar to the whole Kanye trying to reach out to Trump, even though that shit's wild. What Kanye was trying to say was, why should I hate him just because I'm black? Let me at least try to hear out what he's saying. I don't mind Jay-Z reaching to the other side of the aisle saying, let's try to work together to combat police brutality. But you could have did that 3 years ago. We
I
could
don't
be
think
3
he's
years into
work-
progress.
I don't think he's trying to work with them. I think he's just sitting down at these meetings because he has to and sign the papers because he has to. But I think he has a way different,
like agenda.
complete agenda than what they think he has.
I think he's trying to infiltrate and then weed out all those bad weeds.
Which
It's like so basically you get into the NFL, you start, how he's starting now, you start bringing people that you mess with into it.
Yeah.
Now you're
it's a black
building
business.
Exactly.
Right,
Now
but when
you're-
people tried to do that 3 years ago, he was at the forefront of saying, we can't work with them, so don't do it. So he discouraged anyone else who wanted to do that same
Yeah.
thing.
So-
So now all of a sudden he's like,
Did
you know
he?
what? Yeah.
Yeah. So
I-
the way it looks like he kind of said, nobody do this, and then
'Cause
kind of
I
went
won't
behind
do
the
it.
back and said, all right, I'll do it. You do it with me, and we'll have this little.
And
That's
I'll-
what
he
it looks
wanted
like.
to
It looks-
be
it
the
looks
one.
the
neat.
head, right?
Yeah.
And that's the part that confuses
Yeah.
me about
I don't think the people had the money for it. So now that he has the money and the power, he can do
But
it.
you
Well,
can't
I'm-
say
Versus, because we're talking about the situation with Jermaine Dupri, right?
And,
That's one of
Diddy
that's
tried
part
to
of it.
buy
Yeah,
a team.
Jermaine
situation.
Dupri wasn't gonna hold up.
Well, you don't
NFL
know
team
that.
or anything.
Right.
You know,
but
we
even
all
still-
know
Jermaine Dupri.
we all know most of his endeavors. I don't want to shit on him. How are they doing?
But he
Let's
could
be
have. But
honest.
he could have at least
You know what I
tried
mean?
to
They're
get the ball
not. They're not
rolling.
thriving.
They're not as big as.
But
Jay-Z.
he could have.
Exactly.
He could have got the
Money,
ball
though.
rolling though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the thing is that
has
he's
to be the
he's
right
playing the
investment.
white people game. The white
Yeah.
people use their money to leverage.
Right.
That's what
playing
he's
chess.
doing.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
therefore, us as minorities, we look at it like, oh, he's selling out.
I don't even
But
think
we
he's
don't know
selling out.
the end game of what's happening
But that's the thing. I
behind
think
the
people
scenes.
think
You know,
that the end game is going to be positive. They're assuming that Jay-Z is an activist. Jay-Z's not an activist. He's a capitalist.
Right.
And I think
He's
that's
a
what people
businessman.
don't want to face. They don't
Yeah,
want to face
yeah.
the fact that he might just be doing this for money and not
for
to
him.
help anybody.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
Which
or
is
that's his-
okay. That's not a crime.
and
Right.
that's his priority is to make money. I
It's
think
to make money.
And that's what I'm
But
saying.
I think that he's recently been using his money for powerful moves. That's what I think.
Powerful
He's been
moves
waiting.
that make him influential so that he can get into certain rooms. It's not to be influential to be a good person,
Yeah,
which
but
I'm sure
we
he's a
need-
good
exactly.
I
person.
But
feel like we
that's
need that.
technically what Donald Trump did. That's how
That's what
Donald Trump is
politicians
where
do.
he is.
That's what capitalists do.
That's
You know what I
exactly
mean?
what my,
He-
my question was.
his
Because I'm
money
like,
bought it.
when he was saying, I'm not doing the Super Bowl, it was to put himself in that position of, okay, guys, I'm on this team.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to not support that because, you know, I'm big in hip hop culture and I say we shouldn't. So we all were like, all right, cool. And then all of a sudden one day, without any warning, it flips the page. Now it's like, okay, guys, let's all work together. And it's like, wait, what changed? That makes all of a sudden everything
The
cool.
power structure.
You know what I'm saying?
So in short, you're against.
No, I'm not against anything. Like I
No,
said,
no,
I said in the
but-
beginning, I'm cool with everybody doing whatever they want to do.
But-
I'm just confused as to what changed.
Okay, so you're confused. Are you on Jay-Z's side as far as like, okay, this move that you made, I see the positive in it, and you have my blessing. Go ahead. Or are you like, nah,
I'm for
this
it.
is,
I think.
you're for it.
I mean, he is doing it for money. There's no doubt. There's no question. But I think that the money that he's getting, like having a powerful black man in hip hop culture, is gonna change a lot of things. That's how I feel anyway.
Got it. Regina.
I think that we put too much of our hopes and dreams into celebrities, which is really unnecessary.
You're right.
We expect celebrities to be these really great people and to become influential and to do all these things for
Right.
the community
True.
that they're not obligated. They're not obligated to carry the black community because they're black, and we just have to face that. If they do, that's wonderful, and we
It's a
should support
positive.
them. But if they don't, we can't just assume that that's what they're gonna do. I think people do not want to detach Jay-Z being their favorite rapper
From Jay-Z looking out for Jay-Z.
from Jay-Z looking out for Jay-Z. They want
Right.
to always believe that, yo, we always love Jay-Z.
But-
We know he's going to hold it down. Let me land.
Like, ooh.
He's always going to
that's
hold
your
it
thing.
down. And we don't know that for certain. So let it play out. And then however it falls, you can decide what you want to do when it falls.
Make
But
the best
don't,
of it.
don't assume
Expect.
early. Yeah, like, oh, he's going to do great things or
Is-
he's going to do bad things because we don't know.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
my
looks-
problem is, like you said, it doesn't have to be. I'm sorry.
No,
it
it's
doesn't
cool.
have to be somebody who's a rapper or whatever to make these moves.
Mm-hmm.
But 2-3 years ago, when this whole thing started, it was set up in a way where if somebody else who wasn't Jay-Z was to try to make a move, he would have been almost frowned
That's
upon
sad.
from
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
for the culture. Like you know,
Well-
we're not supposed to do that.
Well,
Like Kanye.
Diddy tried to do it last
Black
year,
Bolt.
and he
Right.
was he was behind Diddy. So that's why
But
I'm
they
like,
denied him.
they denied them, but Jay-Z was like helping them. It was him, Jay-Z, and somebody else that was trying to buy the team. So this has been going on for a while.
I mean, but he didn't buy a team. He
No,
just
but-
has part in the
Yeah,
Super
so-
Bowl,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but
well,
He's producing the
his-
Super Bowl halftime show, something like
he's-
that.
What is it?
Which is not
his
even-
Rock Nation is going to be a consultant when it comes to how they handle social justice and musical acts and things of that sort. So I also feel like, kind of like you guys, that okay, this move, although it seems weird and it seems shady right now,
I
it's
don't think
setting.
it seems shady.
I think a little bit it seems shady because it's just
It's
the
NFL,
timing
like,
of
it
it.
just seems
Oh,
odd.
okay, so number one,
Yes, odd. It's misplaced.
it does. So then I feel like okay, this move. I think if you look kind of down the
The yellow
hallway,
brick road.
There we go. I said hallway. I feel like this may
know,
put
right?
this may like put everybody in a position where, okay, so now we can control
Right.
the message that we're gonna try to send out. We can control the music, so we don't have a Maroon 5 band. That we can have our own band.
But we
or
had that opportunity when they asked Jay-Z the first time to do Super Bowl halftime show.
But it'll be just for that one instance.
Now it'll be
he's
every
controlling
single
more
year.
of it.
Yeah,
Or
but they play hip hop in the background. Like I said, I watch a lot of football.
They
They
play-
play a lot of
It's
hip
not
hop
the
already.
same,
It
you
is.
know.
yeah, I mean,
I mean,
There's always been room for black influence in football because honestly, most of the players are black.
Are
and,
black.
and a
The
lot of the
majority.
coaches now are black, and a lot of the staff is black.
It's
so
black.
there's always
But
been
the
People
people
opportunity.
in power are white.
Right. So there's been opportunity because baseball players do it, basketball players do it. If they say they're going on strike, there's no football. Period. People talking about, oh, let's boycott football, and I always say I won't do that because you're only hurting the small businesses that benefit from you going to their bars, whatever. You're not hurting the NFL. They get their money from big business and
Ticket sales.
and commercials and shit like that. So I'm not hurting the NFL if I don't watch. They don't give a shit
you're hurting
for
the
every.
players and you're hurting the
Right.
business that comes
And
with that.
at the end of the day, the NFL gives an opportunity to a lot of people of all races to feed their families, not just players. You know what I mean? It gives kids who go to college because they got a football scholarship because they were trying to get it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
Yeah.
trickle down to it. So I wouldn't want the NFL to have its demise. But from the beginning, I'm like, I'm with Cap. I stand with Cap. And I felt like he started something where dialogue was started. And if the NFL wanted to work with him, they could have. But we as a culture made it almost a bad thing to even consider, hey, let's work together hand in hand and try to figure this thing out.
I feel like though black people, we do that with everything. We look at the negatives in everything.
We're always ready
And I
to
feel
drop
like
some
that's
shit.
one of the reasons why we can't. I don't want to sound like Kanye, so let
But
me be
can't-
careful for what I'm about to say.
like move forward.
Not move forward because we always have to remember what came before us because it's what got us here today. And still, we're still living, feels like we're still living in the past. But I just feel like if we saw this more as a positive, even just coming down to our own community, if we see the positive in things, we can make a bigger impact because
Right.
then we will feel good about supporting this thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like we're almost against our fellow brother
Right.
that did something like that hasn't been done yet. That he's what is it, bought?
No, I
here
think
we
it's
go.
finalized.
Here we go. Say it. Which word is it?
No, I wasn't
Darren
sure.
doesn't know the difference between bought
No,
and
no,
brought.
not even that.
Oh, you're one of those.
My goodness gracious.
It's bought.
I feel okay,
Without
well,
an R.
I
Do you feel
really meant.
personally
I
attacked?
really meant because I said really. I really meant that I don't know if he bought the team or it was just that instance of him and his company.
Once again,
It's
I'm
both.
not against
It's both.
Jay-Z working with the NFL. I just feel like he flip-flopped.
I did the story.
And that's where I was
I mean, but after that happened, is it Josh Gordon that got reinstated? As soon as
The
that
Patriots?
happened, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But was that connected? I don't know if it was connected.
Possible.
I don't think it's
I
connected.
mean, let's see
'Cause,
what he does.
Yeah.
wasn't he suspended with Cap?
no,
When-
he was suspended
No,
because
no,
of
no.
something completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
And Cap was never really
Cap
suspended.
will never get a job.
It was just like
He had
the
no contract, right?
Yeah, it's
He was
like
kind of blackballed.
it's a silent blackballing that everyone can see, but the NFL doesn't acknowledge that he was blackballed.
and they settled.
It's sad.
And they settled.
They settled for him and another player that was happening to.
And he has been being paid by Nike this entire time, which is another situation.
So a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's fucked up because Cap still doesn't have a job," and it's like, no, he
He's been getting
does.
paid.
It's a lot
yes.
of money.
And
aren't they
he's-
supposed to technically drop him because he's not an active athlete?
Come on, and Nike?
Yeah. Because
No,
the endorsement was for football.
no,
But when
because
they
they've
endorsed
been
him,
endorsing Tiger
Wasn't
Woods
he
this whole time
still?
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah.
Nike has their
Everything's
own-
about popularity. Everything's
I mean,
about money.
but we could also say Cap is doing the Nike thing for money too. Everybody needs to get theirs how they get theirs.
See, but the
because
difference
I feel like
is-
Nike kind of culture
But
vulture
yeah,
with
but there's
that.
a
Hold on.
difference. I think
There's a
Regine's
difference
supposed to hit
because
it.
Cap got down on the knee, but Cap is a worker.
Yeah, he's still in the
Jay-Z
trenches.
is more like we would say
Yeah,
a
he's
boss,
an
someone that
activist.
he can go in and make change. Cap is not a person that can make change. We wouldn't even probably have known who he was
If it wasn't for the knee.
if it wasn't for the knee.
I was gonna say
That's
half
true.
the people who are mad don't even know what team he played for when he did play.
Was it the San Francisco?
Ano-
49ers, yeah.
One thing I want to say is, for those people that are saying, "Oh, I'm with Cap," what have you done the whole time Cap been out?
And that's what I'm saying.
Because
Like
you know,
said,
I see it all over
I
the
still
internet.
see people
but-
standing for the national anthem, still putting their.
But
hand
it's
on
not
their
even that.
heart.
Like,
Even
what
that.
are you doing for the community? What
Right.
are you doing to better what's going on in
Around you.
in your hood.
Where's
Nothing.
the
'cause,
what are you
know,
doing to
most
be
of
the
the
cap
people
of
that I've
your-
seen post anything been posting things like what's his kid's name, Boonk, all the time. You, the
Oh
kid
yeah,
that
guy
does
that does all those weird.
all the
videos.
weird things.
I
He's
don't know.
just
We're
doing
a
things for
little
attention.
gang?
We're old.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, you know, they're post nonsense, but when it comes to this, they want to be on that side. Like, yo, what are you? What do you really stand
People
for?
pick sides based on who they like.
Exactly.
Hip hop culture literally, I think, unfortunately, overarches a lot of what like black media is. Everything is hip hop culture. There are a lot of influential black people that have done really amazing things to the black
Aside
community,
from
and
hip-hop,
they are the
yeah.
underdogs, even though they have done so much more and make so much more money than your Diddy, than your Jay-Z, than your Kanye. But these are the people that get to speak for all of us. And quite frankly, I don't have nothing against Kanye. I love his music, but I don't want Kanye speaking for me as a black person.
Right.
Jay-Z, I don't mind. But Kanye, I don't want speaking for me. So why is it that the hip hop heads, the hip hop moguls are the ones that get to decide how we are perceived in the world? But what about other influential black people? Why can't they be the voice? Why does it have to be the hip hop heads that are the voice? The ones that are making us look kind of ridiculous.
Because they're the ones that I feel like.
Because white people have given them that platform.
They
Boom.
have that. They
That's
have
what
this
it is.
huge platform that they have a little CD or whatever you download or stream or whatever, and that is their platform, and 1,000 millions of people listen to it daily.
They're super influential.
Which
out
is
there.
why I'm confused, because I'm like,
Actually,
Jay-Z
yeah.
had the ability to do the Super Bowl. You have the eyes of half the country watching the Super Bowl. If you was really trying to get a message out in a moment,
That was
you would have taken that moment, said, I'm going to perform and watch me work. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And then you find out, well, performing for the Super Bowl, you don't get paid. But producing it,
So is it better to have a moment?
Wait, performers don't get paid at the Super Bowl?
No.
It's promotion for them.
Oh
I
yeah,
think-
they become. Well,
Yeah.
s-
They're trying to push out their
numbers
projects.
show that.
Exactly.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
doesn't
Everything
need that
goes
because
up.
he's Jay-Z, and so he promotes himself.
So he didn't take it because it didn't.
It didn't
have
benefit
money.
him.
Yeah.
Jay-Z knows better. He's not trying to be new money forever. He's trying to be
Yes.
old money.
Yeah,
he
he's a
has to put
businessman.
himself in certain rooms. And there are rooms that Jay-Z's going to be in that people will never be in their entire lives.
and he
he's gonna
deserves
be
that.
making history.
He
definitely
100% deserves that. But I'm just saying, like, we all sat here and be like, oh, Jay-Z said he's not doing Super Bowl, so fuck it. We don't even want to watch the halftime show. I don't even watch halftime show, and I watch a lot of football. Fuck it, we ain't doing it. Now it's like, oh shit, we gotta. Now
I
we
mean,
got.
but you didn't miss anything. That
I
Travis
did.
Scott performance was trash.
I didn't
last night.
watch it at all.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm saying?
I watched it. I'm not gonna front. I watched it.
Don't
I
put
was
all your
like,
cards. I mean, don't put all your eggs in Jay-Z's basket. That's all I'm saying.
Because-
Not that it's gonna be negative, but you just
You
don't
don't know.
It's early.
Because my job, I work with shoes and stuff like that. So watching the progression of Jay-Z, the history of Jay-Z, he started making sneakers for Reebok, the S. Carter's. That shit was hot for a little minute, and
Which
then
was an ugly shoe.
it was
by the
ugly
way.
as fuck.
Terrible.
As soon as that shit stopped being hot, he no longer was at Reebok. Now he's doing this whole Rock Nation thing, Puma, boom, boom. So I thought he was supposed to be doing basketball. So that's another reason why the whole NFL thing confused me. I'm like, you bought the Brooklyn Nets, you doing this,
Oh, yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're
yeah.
managing basketball players.
He owns the what's it called? The what's it called?
the I know what you're talking about, the
Stadium?
stadium. Yeah.
Right. So the whole NFL thing
Barkley.
just seemed like an opportunistic moment in time that just came from left field for me. Like if he
Yeah,
would have
it
bought
was-
another basketball team, cool.
The timing was wise.
It's just
on it.
weird timing for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. I'm
And
just
a weird organization, the NFL, and that's
Right.
why people are looking at it that way. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Jay-Z's gonna enter the NFL and be the token black guy there. Like, he thinks
You
he
don't
can
ever
have
wanna
all
be
this
the
power,
token.
but really,
He's
he's
just
gonna just
like
kind
a
of be a
figurehead.
pawn.
He's the black
You
friend.
don't really
Yeah.
know. But Jay-Z makes more money than some of them owners.
of course he does.
Some of them.
But they don't
A
care.
very small sum.
They don't
because a
give a
lot of
shit.
them
Are
are
in the
Alright.
bills? The
filthy
billions?
But then
rich.
he so
Top
on
1%
top of
even.
this, he has the thing that he's doing with Meek Mills and Kraft, the legal thing that they are,
Which is a
doing
big
in
thing.
Toronto. It's a
The,
huge
the,
thing.
the reform thing is huge.
Yes.
You know, Meek had his Puma reform sneaker and the clothing. You know what I mean?
yes.
It's all a big
Meek is
movement.
actually standing for something.
They're both
It's a big
standing for
movement.
something,
It-
but he didn't need the NFL to stand for. Is what
No,
I'm saying.
So what I think, and maybe I could be looking at it different, but the fact that they had Kraft on with them to help manage that and do that, maybe Kraft help Jay-Z in that position of
To get into
to
the
the
NFL.
NFL.
Maybe.
It's like so early. I really
I
want
know
to
it
see
is
what he's
early.
What's
gonna
gonna
do.
happen?
Yeah,
You and me
wait and
both.
see.
I just don't want people to be holding him up on this pedestal
yeah,
and be
yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah.
if
And
it
I don't want people to
doesn't-
bury him.
and bury him.
And
And then
he'll
he does something
never
great,
be
you know?
buried. He'll
So-
never. I don't think he'll. This.
If we
There's
let him
some
grow them
people
dreads,
like
I
that.
guess he's cool.
It's
whatever.
like if Beyonce did something crazy, people will find a way
People
to
will find a way
justify
to
whatever
justify it
he
because
does.
they love the artist. They can't separate the
Exact
artist
from the music.
from the person.
The
That's
music-
true because
yeah.
supposedly the Carters don't rock with Kanye, but then Beyonce signs with Adidas, with Kanye being in the Yeezy. So it's like, so y'all are cool.
I mean, it could be a separate thing too. Yeah,
We could.
I think Beyonce wants no parts of Kanye.
She's
And which is
sick.
Don't
tough
even
because
look his
he
way.
has a big stake in Adidas.
Oh no, huge.
Right.
He runs Adidas.
So
right now.
so it's tough
I mean,
to
You know,
separate.
business is business.
Business
at the
is
end of the day.
business.
We don't
Right.
need to be friends. I want to make my money.
Long
And
as we
that's
making our money.
and that's the
also,
point.
you my husband's friend, so
And
Oh,
y'all don't even
oh,
talk.
are they?
definitely.
Your little
don't
friend.
gotta
I saw
talk
your
to
little friend at the office today.
me. Yeah, right. I saw
Your
your little
bestie.
boyfriend at the office
Right.
and whatever.
BRB, y'all continue.
Right.
Let him know not to be coming to my meetings no more.
That's crazy. I mean, let's see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
I trust Jay-Z personally, only because I've been watching what he's been doing recently.
He's a capitalist.
Man, I don't trust no man, but at the same time, I'm not gonna bury a man
Yeah.
for something that
He's a
he's doing.
capitalist.
Now,
White people
now,
been capitalists
if
their
he
entire
I mean,
came
but
out
if I
all
had the
crazy-
opportunities to do the
Opportunities.
things that Jay-Z's doing, I do them too because we're all essentially trying to
Trying to
gain
better
financial
ourselves.
wealth.
Yeah.
To
I mean,
take care of
yeah.
our
Yeah,
families
but
and-
power is very. It's
Money
a
is
small
power.
commodity of
There's
power.
so many places
You know,
to get
especially
power
in
and
the
money,
black
the
and-
NFL
and
just rubs me the wrong way.
Our community, like, how many people you know in that power right now that
Not
came
many.
out from the
I
streets?
was gonna say I just know y'all.
I mean,
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But,
I wish.
But I can't.
know.
I can't speak on Regina
but
because
power
it's true.
to gain
We are
that
enemies.
power.
Yeah.
is-
Well, I'm a nemesis. I'll be somebody's. Not yet. We gotta work up to.
No,
nemesis.
what? Yeah,
I'll be an
nemesis
enemy,
is-
but not
That's a
enemy.
little
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
I know.
It's the history's not that
I
deep.
feel like I'll make it my goal to be your nemesis.
I appreciate that.
What?
You know, people treating Jay-Z like he's Thanos.
Thanos.
You know, like
His
he
band's
I get it. Like
drinking
he's
right
the
now.
villain.
Saying, like,
And, you
he's
know,
the villain.
and,
Can't
and
stop.
so Bim likes to say this all the time that you can't disagree with 100% of what somebody's saying. So even if you look at, I don't know if you guys seen the Avengers Endgame and all that stuff. So even if you look at Thanos, I think he of course he went about it in a very like dumb,
Evil way. Mhm.
But what he was saying is kind of true. Like
Exactly.
the world, we have no more resources. We're depleting resources. So let me help balance and take away people who don't need the resources.
He was a
And-
vigilante.
Yeah.
Really is what he was.
so of course, not everybody's gonna agree with it. Of course, those people who are, everybody's like, we need to all live together in harmony and stuff.
And he
Like,
was
that
looking out for
doesn't-
his own people.
right, and that's at the end of the day. Like if it comes between my family and my people versus you and your people, like I'm obviously gonna ride for my people. If there's a way that we could all do it together, great. But
If not,
if I had to snap to get rid of one of us, I'm not
It's
gonna get
gonna
rid
be
of
you.
half of my camp and none of your camp.
yeah.
Get rid of your camp, so I can live better. I know I'm an elitist.
The NFL.
Are
though,
you?
I've been called an elitist.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think I'm better than most people.
The
I mean-
NFL.
She's like,
Of
no,
all the
no, I'm
organizations
joking.
in the world, but
Please don't walk away thinking
I
I'm
mean,
the elitist.
no, I'm only saying that because you can't judge. Everybody has been. I mean, I can't assume, but most minorities have been at the bottom. So when I see another minority getting it how they know and doing what they can for their own financial,
Do
I don't
you.
judge them
Yeah.
because I would do the same
Yeah.
thing.
As long as you're not in my way.
Yeah,
As long
and
as
you're
you're
not
not
doing it
putting
for
me down,
evil.
yeah.
Dang,
Exactly.
but morals.
Yeah, and I almost feel like, and that I think is what we hope celebrities do is big up each other and bring everybody with you. So if Jay-Z's on this platform, and we want him to bring other people up in that platform too.
Right.
And
Now
it's
go
like,
build Black
yeah,
Wall Street or something.
Right, you made it to the top. Help other people get to the top, so those people can help other people get to the top.
Which
And
is
then
fine, but he didn't need the NFL to do that.
I get
He
it.
didn't.
I get
That's
it.
what she just said.
I get it. All right.
Could done it with any other organization. I feel like this is
Or
a
his
little
own.
bit culture vulture-ish
Mm.
from how it looks.
Wow.
But let's see what happens.
But is it a culture? Is he being a culture vulture if it's our culture?
Or if he's part of
Yes.
the culture.
Yes.
I thought culture
'Cause
vulture
you
is
can
when you're
use-
outside of the culture and you use the culture to better yourself.
But you can use your own culture to better yourself.
Yeah, but that's not a vulture. You're part of the culture.
He's being maybe more so, like you said, an opportunist.
Which is it
I
a bad
mean,
thing?
hey.
If anything, wouldn't you think like white people in the NFL would be more upset?
They probably are.
No, they must be livid.
And
Oh,
then I
probably
believe
not.
it's going
That's
to
a good
cause a lot of
question.
divide within the NFL with the black players.
It's already starting.
It's already starting. I saw one player wasn't with it. He
Yeah.
said something, and another player played 8 Jay-Z songs in a row in like practice. You know what I mean? Like they're already
Did he
starting
play
this.
Black Republican like franchise? did?
You know, it's like it's gonna cause this little petty divide, which once again brings back to my original point. We're always ready to divide instead of just be like, okay, cool. This is the situation. Let's all work together and get to a better place.
Or let's just hold him accountable. He messes up. Let's do what we do to everyone else.
That's
Blackball
right.
him. Get off title. Stop
Black-
streaming his music. Don't go
Blackball.
to his concerts and see how he likes it.
Be difficult.
People
It
not
ain't more
gonna do
difficult
that.
than
People didn't
blackballing
do it
the
to
NFL.
Kanye.
I mean, we did that.
He
to
was out here
Kanye,
talking
so-
all crazy.
We are blackballing Kanye, aren't we? Are we still
Not
doing that?
everybody.
Not everybody.
People
I
are still
don't like
rocking the
Kanye.
music.
People showing up to them
People
little
rock
church
the
services
Yeezys,
and
but nobody's
everything.
The
listening.
church
to
service is a
music.
little much. Church service as a
I don't know, I
Kanye
love it.
stan, it's a little much for me.
You wouldn't go
Yeah.
to church with Kanye?
I think he just uses the word church for the feeling that it gives you. But
Right.
if
Is
you've
it
been a
really
fan
church?
of Kanye, you know he's always been inspired by gospel music.
Absolutely.
So
Which is
I don't
why-
find it weird.
Which is why when people
'Cause you
got
love
upset
him.
about Jesus, and I'm like, if you actually listen to the album, you'll see he's not saying he's God. He's actually bigging up God and everything. And he's
Yeah.
saying respect God. But if you have to listen to the whole album to hear that.
And also, if you believe in Greek mythology, it was the same thing. God of water, God of sea. He's the
Right.
God
There's
of rap.
plenty gods.
Yeah.
He does. You know, I have a conversation with God. Like he said, "What up, Jesus?"
Yeah, what up, Jesus? Yeah.
So, all right.
I mean,
Oof.
it is what
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
I stopped fighting for Kanye because he just went.
Ugh,
He just did things you
The
can't
whole
defend.
Donald Trump thing was
that was
a
the
little
one.
much for me.
But like I said, to me, like she said, I don't see how that's much different from Jay-Z's working with the NFL because it was Kanye saying, "Why do I have to automatically turn down this ally that I could possibly have who's from the other side?" You know what I mean? And everybody was just like, "Nah." I mean, Trump is trash, so I get it.
Right.
He's pure
Period.
trash. Let's
Nah,
clear that
Kanye
up.
went to like George W.
Yeah.
or one of the other
Or- oh,
presidents.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it
But
was
the thing
like,
is,
oh,
Kanye came at George W., which is,
Yeah.
and that's the same thing as Jay-Z.
Which
It's
is
like,
weird.
And I was
like
gonna
black
say,
people.
he couldn't go to Obama because I think it's more like a petty.
But I
It
feel
was like a stab. To me, I feel like it was like a stab at Obama,
Like
a
a-
shot,
like a
because
slap.
Obama called him an idiot, I
Yeah.
think, or an
And he
ass.
came
or he
back.
called-
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I'll
a
show you. I'm
jackass.
gonna be friends with the next president.
a
You
jackass.
watch.
That's
Right.
Right.
It's like exactly.
I mean, but he
Childish.
is childish.
That's what I don't
Yeah,
like.
but
That he
grow
used to
up.
get to
Put
know
your-
Trump.
Put your
Do your
big
thing.
grown pants.
He doesn't really
On.
have those.
You know what I
But
mean?
he does
Like
have
you
children.
you
He's
got
small.
your
He's
pants on when you
small.
go to see
He's-
Donald
well,
Trump.
he's only like
Hey,
5'7".
Mr. President, we
he's
share
small.
dragon blood. Like, what the hell? What are
They
talking
do have a
about?
lot in
Openly
common.
a racist, also.
Who? Trump?
A lot of
Yeah,
similarities.
it's like he's openly a racist,
So
and you just
he's not
don't feel no
racist.
way?
That's fake news.
no.
I think Trump is a clout chaser for
Facts.
white people. I don't even think he understands
so
what
lame.
racism is.
He's also even not a politician. Like
that too. So he's being lumped
damn good
in
at it, though.
with the
no, he's ridiculous.
with the concerns of racist, and he doesn't even see it. They're using him as a big old dummy, and he don't even see it. Which is why he doesn't see why what he's doing is racist. Like, yo, you're dumb.
Yeah, he's like the epitome of ignorance.
He's like, we don't
Right.
like immigrants. Let's build a wall. And he has no, like he is
No
not.
comprehension as to
But,
what.
you know what I mean?
No.
If you
why
go
is
back,
that it's not
This
okay.
is fine. Yeah, this is. I
if you
can
go
say
back
this.
to the immigrant thing, half of the white people were immigrants at one time. And
His damn wife is an
and your
immigrant.
slogan is
He's trying to
make
get her
America
deported
great
right now.
again. So making America great again would be giving the reserves back to the natives, to the
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
you're
To
trying,
the Native
you're really
Americans,
trying to
you
make
said.
America this great place that used to be.
Right.
You
And
know,
make it great
it was
again.
probably great when the
When did it
Pilgrims
lose its
came,
luster?
which
Before they
it
got
wasn't that clean either. So I
I
mean,
said making America great again. Like when did it lose its luster? When there was too many immigrants or too many of
did
things
it ever
that-
Well,
have?
yeah.
The
luster?
first immigrants were the white people.
Yeah, exactly.
Italians.
Literally.
Wait.
Christopher Columbus was a
He
whole
doesn't
Italian.
know. He doesn't know anything.
Roger Williams was a
Wajah Williams.
Roger Williams. Wooja
Where he come from? England?
from
Did he?
yeah.
Spain.
I feel like we should know that because we're from Rhode Island.
From England.
Williams,
that's
yeah,
what they
last
called it in New
name.
England.
Providence. I see.
I'm definitely calling that from that one.
Providence.
What was I gonna say? I forgot.
No.
Yeah. So this was a great conversation. I
definitely.
feel like this is the most serious we've been for a while, Jen.
some fun.
Consecutively.
We need
Look at Banz. Banz is always trying to have fun.
It's good to talk about
So-
the things. You know, we have people come on our podcast and say they don't even
Listen
watch
to
the
the
news,
news. Yeah.
which is sick.
I feel like it's certainly hard to not watch the news, especially that with social media.
I
and
can
everything
understand
else.
why people don't though.
Yeah, because it's just so negative, especially when like it's so there's like the news on a big scale where it's like what's happening in our nation,
Like
and then it
CNN.
trickles down to like what's happening in your
Community.
in your community, in the world, in your state, and near you. And it just gets like as it goes
Scary.
down, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And
You
it's
just
like,
reminded me of what I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
good job.
Because I forgot. Talking about local news. How do we feel about this whole jump bikes being taken over by kids that are doing wild things?
That's why we can't have nice things.
See, I wouldn't say
No,
that.
don't
I
say
wouldn't
that. White people say that all the time,
Yeah, I
and it
wouldn't
hurts
say
my
that.
heart.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Because we deserve nice things.
Yeah,
I
but-
feel like
but then we do dumb shit like
exactly,
this.
and we don't
I feel,
take care
but
of
that's. I feel like that's your parents' fault. Like, if I was that age
No.
and my mom saw me on one of those bikes and knew it was stolen, I'd get my ass whooped.
You're right.
But how would your mom know it was stolen?
it. Yeah, but
She didn't
Because
buy
I
no
don't
bike.
exactly. I don't have a debit card. How did I get on a bike?
not only that, but again, you gotta understand that this is something that people are taking advantage of, and some of the parents are defending these kids.
Yeah.
See, that's the
Discipline
problem.
your kids.
Yeah, don't defend the kids.
Don't defend it. If
No.
your kid's doing something wrong, address it.
I say start arresting them.
Ooh,
But you see that
And
that'll
then
be
It's hard to
another.
catch them. If they
So-
could, they would arrest them.
someone's militant over here, huh?
You have something has to be done. I'm not saying charge them, but
Just
scare
arrest
them.
Just shake
Yeah,
them
so
up a
the
little bit.
parents
But
can
it's-
understand
it's
what's
not
going on.
worth
Well,
it.
that's-
But the way the nation is right now to go arrest these minorities on top of
juveniles.
Most of
you
them
know
are minorities.
now
They're
you're
stealing,
putting them
though.
into the system.
They're stealing.
No.
They're stealing state property.
So let me back up because a lot of people are not from
then
Providence.
take the
Really
bikes
are.
out of the hood.
Let me back
Simple.
up. So
That's
see,
not
and that's the
fair,
problem.
but that's
The
not
thing
fair.
is,
You wanna
they
arrest them, now
listen.
you're
The
saying
thing is that
No, I'm saying it's not fair to take them away, but
Listen,
keep the
the
bike
thing
for.
is that
I
these-
use jump bike. You know
listen,
what I'm saying?
the thing is that these big companies want to come in, such as Uber, which owns Jump Bike, and you know they come into the neighborhood, drop these bikes off. What do you think is gonna happen? Let's be honest.
I mean,
But-
they were
but-
giving it
but
the
jump-
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But the bikes have been in a lot of cities across the nation, and apparently, supposedly,
They've been doing
DK,
that.
Rhode Island's
this
the
is
worst.
this is the
DK.
only one where this has happened. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what's going on with the jump bikes, so the jump bikes are a bike where you can go to Uber app and you can pick up a bike and just ride it for a certain amount of time, and you pay for it through the app, and it's motorized, kind of, sort of, whatever. And kids are breaking the locks off of them, and they're just riding them, and they're like kicking people's cars, robbing people, doing all kinds of wild shit, and it's kind of become uncomfortable in the city. So now it's like, what do we do?
Not only that, but they're taking off the tires. They're throwing them in the lake.
They're doing a lot of vandalism.
They're doing the most.
It's impactful on so many different levels. Like I was just talking to Court, shout out to Court, and she was saying how because of the way the bikes are being treated and being damaged and whatever, Jump took a big loss, which has prompted them to just
Raise the
raise the prices and fire a shitload of people,
including our good friend Court.
including Court. Shout out to Court
My
again.
brother works there, so I.
Right,
you know.
and it wasn't like they were like, oh, here's a couple notes. No, it was like, hey, you're
Bye.
fired. Like, go home.
Yeah,
So because people want to be dumb, kids want to be dumb, and
but kids
parents
are dumb.
People
kids
losing
are dumb. So
jobs.
should we?
Parents are oblivious, or they just don't care.
And a lot of these kids are coming from low income homes, so they can't even afford to get on these bikes. So,
No, so
their
of course
first
they-
instinct is, I'm
It's
just
to
going
break
to
it. I'm
steal
gonna
it
break it. Yeah, I'm
and
taking that
take
shit.
it.
So,
But it's
so,
like,
But that's so
so
wrong.
this is part
It's
of
wrong, but-
my problem that I have with society. The issue with these kids is something deeper, right? And we're not gonna look into that deeper problem. Just like the same thing when kids shoot kids, when kids
we just want to arrest them or punish them, but we don't want to do an initiative to give kids free bikes
We
or
don't want to get to the root
or find
of
out what the problem
Or
is.
find out what the
why
problem
are you
is.
so angry to the point where you're riding in traffic and kicking my Camry? Like, what? Why are you that mad? What's the problem? Because you kick my Camry.
They
Why
don't
have a
have
problem?
anything.
They don't.
Do we
have
even have a
They don't have
YMCA
anything.
anymore?
Now let's
Yeah,
say
it's YMCA. This boys and
let's
girls
set
club.
up a
But
scenario.
Providence?
It's
Let's
expensive.
say, for example, you're driving down the street on a bad day.
And these kids
One
kick
of
my
the-
car.
Now you go and take it up on a kid. Now you
you
get
run
in
him
trouble
over.
because you're the
Run them
aggressor
over,
now.
beat
Damn,
them
Jen.
up. Like
Run 'em
anything
over.
could happen to them.
Oh yeah, run them over. I'm in my fucking car. I'm not getting out. You felt the need to kick my door in. I'm finding you. I'm angry sometimes. Sorry.
Let's get to the root of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is going on here?
See what I'm saying? It's a
No,
lot
but
of
like the thing is,
aggression.
you know, one thing leads to another.
Right.
You know, so let's do us the favor. Take the bikes out, or set up a new system where they can't take it.
Well, they
How
tried
are
that.
they even?
had a
Yo,
lot.
first of all, they're mad smart.
And that's
'Cause
the thing.
how?
These kids are intelligent. These are not dumb kids. Because I don't even know how to use a jump bike. And I have the Uber
Wait.
app. I don't know how to use that
You
shit.
don't know how to you don't know how to ride a bike.
I know how to ride a bike. I have one
It's
in
the
my
same
house that
thing.
I've used once.
So you just
What?
yeah.
I bought it from Benny's just because it was closing, and then that was
Hey,
it.
Shout out to Benny.
Ow.
So
Long live.
I forgot. I'm all lost now.
But yeah, the bikes thing makes me sad because I feel like it was an awesome thing for the city.
It was.
It was.
And
Are they taking them out?
You know
they're
what
talking about taking them
You
out.
know what it is? They put too many.
No.
That's
They started making way
Nah.
too much money. They got hungry. They put too many.
That is a good
so
point, though.
now it's too accessible.
The thing is, we are a city that's neighboring Boston, which is a thriving city. No, Providence is a up and coming city.
Right.
So they're placing these jump
Fast.
bikes. You know, they're trying to make more ways of transportation. We have Uber, we have Jump, we have like obviously
It's a
our bus system.
metropolitan city
It's
at
a
this
metropolitan
point.
city, and we don't have like a train system. So they're trying to give people more ways to
Be
reduce
mobile.
the car use,
Yep.
and you know, be able to get to work or get downtown or do whatever you're doing. They've done a whole bunch of things with the jump bikes during like really warm days, cutting it in half for how much you can use it for an hour. It's been great for the city. Yes, it has its negatives, but that's anything that they're gonna start
Put
in
and
a
this is
city.
why I don't want them to take it away because I feel like the people who are using it for good benefit from it.
Exactly.
And we just shouldn't let some kids who are angry for whatever reason ruin that for everybody. Like there's people who work at the hospitals
That use
who
it.
they don't have to pay for parking now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ride this bike. I'm gonna get some cardio in before work, and ride in my scrubs, and I'm gonna get to work.
That's true. It's
You
so
know, don't
useful.
have to take the jump bikes out of the city because of this one thing.
So
It's
then
like
what do you do? What do we do to minimize the damage to it? To stop kids from messing with the bikes?
How about we mix
Unfortunately-
my idea and her idea? Arrest them
Put them in jail.
and then put them in a program.
Arrest them and then make them build the bikes.
Ooh,
fix them?
that's not
That-
a good idea.
No.
Can you imagine as a parent, your child getting arrested and having to make bikes for other
If-
kids or for other
Yeah,
people
make
to
them
get
work
on?
for jump.
As a parent, if my child is breaking the bike, then hell yeah, the child could fix the bike. You broke it.
Because
I'm
if
not paying
anything,
for it.
you can find a way to make that into a teachable moment where they're learning
Yeah.
a skill
Exactly.
Yeah.
that they can build upon for their future. You know what I mean? You don't have to make it
Like throwing in jail.
embarrassing or like.
I mean,
oh,
unfortunately, what's gonna happen is they're only going to put jump bikes in certain areas,
and
that
that's
are
what I
not the
don't
hood.
want. I don't want
Yeah,
that to
but-
be a suburban exclusive to where people from
Yeah, but
Providence.
the people in the suburbs are not going to
They're
use
not gonna
them.
use them.
They're not gonna use them.
They're going to lose money.
But you know, I mean, that's on us to be a little more responsible and tell these kids.
What
not
do we
to
do?
this.
Pull them
Like,
over
you know,
like, hey, come
You
here.
know, if we can't,
bike
if
style?
we can't control, if we can't control our kids,
Man's
nobody
profiling.
can.
and that's the problem.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
but
saying
people been
sometimes
not
it
controlling their
starts-
kids. It didn't start with the jump bikes. They were stealing other kids' bikes.
True.
They were stealing.
True.
They
They
were
was
already
beating each
stealing
other
before
up
the
for
jump
the
bikes came
bikes,
out.
killing
They just
for
have
the
something new to
bikes.
steal.
It's at home. There's a root to it.
But before they could steal one bike at a time, so where it's like one kid's riding a stolen bike and the rest are walking behind him. Now they're riding through plazas, 8 kids deep. Going. I've
Yo.
seen it. Like, and they're just like,
You know, it's crazy because you guys talked about this on WBRU, Regina. Go ahead, plug in.
Thank you. I'm on WBRU. Catch me every
I
Monday and
see
Tuesday
you.
from 8 to 11 a.m. You heard?
Ow.
Shout out to franchise.
So shout out to franchise and everybody over there. They talked
I
about
love
that,
them.
and
They're crazy.
Boom said something that I was thinking of right when he said it. We said at the same time. The same time he said it, I said it at the same time he said it. There we go. It reminds me of the whole Central Park situation where the young minorities were terrorizing people. That's what's going on, and nobody put a stop to it until this one white lady got hurt real bad. And so before something like that happens, someone gets jumped, ran over, God forbid, because that's somebody's baby out there.
Yeah.
Something needs to be solved, and keep the bikes because
I know, but
we
what do
need
you
the
do?
bikes.
Like, sitting around as just like young black people right now, like, what do we do? Because as much as we know something should be done, like, I feel like because we identify, like, we were young black kids, you know,
Right.
some of us grew up in the hood, so we know what that's like. Like,
I have
what
nothing.
do we do? Because we don't want, not to say white people, we don't want white people to make decisions for our youth.
Right.
It should be us saying, like, all right, y'all need to stop doing this, and but like, what do we do? Like, how do we
We reach out to
convince
them.
these
Yeah.
kids
because
to stop
personally,
stealing
I
these
don't know
bikes?
teenagers. I'm like 20 years older than teenagers, so I don't know these kids where I could even have that conversation. So you're right. Like, what do we do?
For all the parents, bring back the belt.
Come on.
Bring back the belt.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
don't say
I'm sorry,
that.
but
Nah.
the way I
Put
was
some jump
raised,
bikes? Like,
I was terrified. Listen, my mom threw remotes,
Chancletas. I know.
chancletas.
Yeah, but you're an
hands
exception
at me.
of that case.
But listen, how did I turn out?
Yeah, but some people
I wasn't
are messed up
out
over
there
that too.
vandalizing
So it
things.
goes either
I
way.
was
But you
doing-
was out there.
I was out there, but I wasn't vandalizing things because I knew it was gonna get back to my mom. And if it got to my mom, I was gonna get her ass.
So
whooped.
Some of
you're
these kids don't
so
even care what their moms think.
They get their asses whooped every day. It means
so you
nothing.
touched upon something. So I think, again, shout out to Court because we had a really good conversation. I think it has to do with your community. So, like, okay, for instance, if me and you live next to each other, I know your kids, you know my kids, right? Cool. She moves in the neighborhood. We meet her. She has kids. She knows. We know her kids. She knows our kids. So now there's 3 of us. If you see my kid doing something stupid,
Takes
I
a
expect for
village.
you to. It takes a village, exactly. I expect for you to bark at that kid and then come tell me, and then it becomes a teachable moment not only for my kids but for your kids
All
and
of
for
them.
her kids. So now the 3 of us are because when I grew up,
That's how
in,
it used to be.
in Washington Park. So I knew if I left my house, Miss Julie, shout out to Albert and the
Would
Johnsons,
snitch.
Miss Julie would be like my second mom. She saw me doing something dumb that's just as bad as my mother seen me doing something dumb. So I think we don't have that.
So you move
don't.
different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? 'Cause you're
The
like,
communal feeling is gone. I was talking about this with someone last week. The communal feeling that the neighborhoods once had, we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
This is very true.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Because I was driving down the street. I forgot who I was riding with.
Angel.
Them non gingers.
Sorry, I couldn't.
We occasionally bust on the song.
And there were kids in the middle of the street, and I was like, "Be careful, you guys." Like
Yeah.
sometimes that's all it takes
Yeah.
for one of them to hear, "Be careful" from an adult. Like
Somebody
it's
who
not my
cares.
mom, but somebody out
Yeah.
there cares because I have a kid, and if my kid is doing something dumb, I want somebody to tell her something.
And I think a lot of these kids, like I said, they've got an anger from a different source. And I think some of them, they don't have, like you said,
They don't have an
a
outlet.
mom who cares. They're just out in these streets and they're just trying to get attention somehow. Like,
It may
Or
not
it's
even a mom who
convenient for the
cares.
parent,
They may not
too,
even
that
have
the
like
kids are doing
a
stuff.
parent that is able to be there. 'Cause
right,
the
like their
parent
mom might have to
gotta
work 2 jobs, 3
Yes,
jobs. And so
exactly.
they're just out in these streets just trying to get somebody to look at them. And somebody,
Right. They're
So
doing it for attention.
we just, because a lot of programs are getting cut where these
Most
kids,
of them.
Yeah.
Right.
A ton of them.
a lot of these music programs, sports programs
A
that
ton
these
of
kids
them.
would be
Providence
in.
has no
Yeah.
electives. The only elective they have is gym and art.
Yeah.
And now that school's about to start back up, how much you want to bet that this jump bike thing will
Gets
will
worse.
come down? No, I think it's gonna come down.
Yeah,
because
this
they'll be
is the
back in
first
school.
summer with the jump
Okay.
bikes.
Right.
That's why it's been a hot
Right.
commodity.
That makes
It's been in the last couple
they
of weeks.
they just home whenever. And you know it's funny because my wife yells at me. It's been yelling at me all summer to get
You're
my kids.
married.
Yeah.
Look at his ring.
2 of them.
2 rings.
That's beautiful.
So my wife yells at me continuously to
He's Ramfy's
get the
brother-in-law.
girl.
You did say that.
Yeah. She's like, I hate him even more
I don't
now.
hate you now.
Oh, I'll
I
take
hate you
it.
a little less.
All right, I'll take it. We're still enemies though. I don't want to be. your friend.
Frenemies. The
Okay.
word is frenemies.
Now we're
There
frenemies.
you
Okay,
go.
okay, I graduated. Forgot I lost my train of
Your
thought
wife
there.
was telling you.
So she yells at me continuously over the summer. Make sure you put the girls in something. Like, do not let them sit home and do nothing all day.
Right.
And I think
These kids are getting like cabin fever.
and of course from the parent perspective, it's to find a program that's suitable,
Affordable.
affordable is the biggest thing.
Convenient.
Yeah. So luckily, we're blessed enough to have the resources to be able to put them in something and just take the hit financially. But a lot of these parents don't have that opportunity. So what do? They leave the kid home with. Don't go outside or stay outside, stay over at a friend's house or whatever, and then they go run the streets.
You know what, too? It's not only lack of resources, it's also lack of knowledge. There's a lot of small programs that Mayor Lorza has started just
Very
in the
true.
last 2 years,
Yeah.
and parents don't pay attention to them. I was at a meeting for my daughter. She was in a summer program, like a pre-K type of thing. And they were talking about like all these after school programs and like school buses that like pick up your kid from your house, take them home or walk them, like just
Yep.
these small incentives, you know, that makes your life a little bit easier.
Parents, they don't even
And
have the
they don't even pay attention to them.
They don't. A lot of them don't have the time. They're working, or
But
they're
that's what
not
the programs are
well-versed in the
for.
community.
They're not-
Like
exactly.
you're young,
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
yeah.
so you like are very.
You're on
involved.
social
You
media,
know what's going
you're
on, but like
that.
our moms,
Yeah.
they
My
would have
mom
never known.
knew.
Well, your
My mom
knows
used to
everybody.
research.
and she also.
She's like, first of all, I'm at the salon from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There needs to be an after school program at least from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And it has to be affordable.
And
My mom was the same way.
that extra effort that it takes to figure out what am I going to do with my
It's
kid.
lazy parenting.
Either that's
And I hate to say that because I don't want to judge because
you don't know the
it's not
predicament that
easy.
they're in.
Yeah, it's not easy being a parent, whether it's one of you or two of you. But you have to do
there's
more.
a will, there's a way.
Yeah, you have to do more.
Because my mom was a CNA.
Ooh.
And so she
That's
worked
16-hour days.
all the
Yeah.
time. And there was
Right.
5 of us.
16 hours.
And obviously she's a single
well,
parent.
look, I think the numbers matter too. If there's more than 3,
And so,
it gets
like, as
very
much
hard.
as she wanted us to be involved, like, I remember going to college and she couldn't help me with anything. Like, she didn't help me with my FAFSA, like, picking schools. She was always very supportive. She wanted to help me, but she knew
say, I
she
can't.
was
I
at
can't.
her
I'm
limits.
limited.
There was only so much
Yeah.
she knew how to do.
You're also first gen.
Like, that's a big
So
thing
it's
too.
like, I can understand parents that, and I see it a lot because I work at a counseling center. And I work in marketing, so I don't work with a lot of the clients, but I see a lot of, like, when we go into the Providence schools, the parents, they don't know, like, their children want counseling because they know, like, you know, they're more well-versed in why they need counseling, why they want it. But the parents are like, you know, we can't afford that. Why do you need counseling? You know, it's just like their mindset. Some parents are so different. So with this jump bike situation, they're automatically thinking, you steal a jump bike, I'm getting in that ass.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, maybe they just want to be outside. Like, they just want to be doing stuff with
But
their
they
friends.
don't know that they're doing
Yeah,
it.
they want
They don't wanna be
know
left
that they're
out.
stealing the
Yeah.
bike. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Or
you
maybe
know,
it's not even your kid directly stealing it,
Yeah,
but someone
it
is
could be a
stealing it
friend.
for them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it could be a friend, and then that's again being a parent and knowing who your kid is with, knowing the type of people that your kid is with.
yeah,
You know,
and
it-
protecting
Being
these kids
nosy.
because you
You
never
gotta
know
be
what could happen.
nosy.
I was on Thayer Street the other day and this cop was chasing this young boy talking about he stole the jump bike and nobody was there with him. Obviously, no adult. So I got in I parked my car and got out and said, "What is going on here?" And the
'cause
cop
he
was
could've
like,
did
"That bike
anything.
is stolen," and I
it's
was
Miss
like,
Regina.
"Well, we're gonna find out."
Right.
And we found out the bike was not stolen.
Community.
So that, and then I was like, I was just
You
so
make it your
upset.
business.
Right.
You make it your business
Right.
because you know what? That's a young black kid. Yeah, he's on Thayer Street, so it's busy. You know, people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
seeing, but you're accusing this kid of stealing this bike.
Yep.
So, and that's word of mouth. If you say a kid stole a bike, even if it
Everybody's
finds
gonna
out,
be like, they stole that
they
bike.
always stealing bike. Them little black kids, you know, and that
Yep.
wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
like, I want
true.
your badge number. I want to know where you operate out of.
Facts.
Running around behind these kids and they're just trying to have
The
fun.
little boy's like, "Thank you, Miss Regina."
And at
No,
first
not
they were
even Miss Regina,
defensive.
just Miss.
Yeah,
You
thank
know, at first they were mad defensive, like,
Auntie Gina.
you know, I don't know this
Auntie
lady,
G,
whatever.
right.
Because
But,
in
you
the
know,
climate
get
that we're
help.
in, if I'm a little black kid on a jump bike, even if I paid for it, I'm gonna run from the cop.
Right.
Because
It's
I don't know
a
what they want, what they're gonna do
Yeah.
to
People
me.
do-
And people
it
will
all the
tell
time
you
in
don't
cars.
run if you're not
And
guilty.
that's
some
what he was
people-
doing. He was riding off, and I was like, "Stop the bike!"
Don't move.
And he was like, "Why you even do anything? Like, why you guys running after me?" And I was like, "I'm just trying to help."
Because part of the thing is what I found out very recently. The jump bike's been out for a little bit. I found out very recently that apparently,
It's only been a year, actually.
right?
3 years. No?
No,
No,
it's a recent
year.
thing, but I very like in the last 2-3 weeks found out that it's supposed to be 18 plus, just like the Uber thing. It's supposed to be 18 plus, or is it 21 plus? Because the bikes are like 80 pounds and
Got it,
blah blah
got
blah.
it,
So
got
they're not even supposed to be for kids technically.
Oh, yeah, they're 18 plus.
They're 18 plus.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
That's another
And
problem.
the thing is, when they first was marketing them, maybe I missed that memo, but I don't remember that being a big, bold
Right.
point.
Yeah,
like this
that's
is not
true.
for kids, and I don't think they were even ready for that option. Like, what if kids get on this thing? You know what I mean? So I might have a kid who I know I've seen kids riding them to school, and I remember thinking, damn, that's dope. I wish I had this shit when I was in school.
Right.
I might not have missed the bus as many times as I did because
You
I
could
could.
have jumped on a bike and went to school.
Right, because back when we went to school, our bus stops was far as fuck. That bike could have been a problem. Like for me, I'm like, I missed the bus. I'll go to the next stop, whatever. But knowing that it's not for kids, but bikes inherently are for children. It's a play thing. It's a toy.
Yeah.
So you already got their attention there.
You already got their
It's a
attention.
bike.
It's like
Oh.
when they say
free
alcohol
bike.
companies can't make these commercials and make it look like it's for kids, or they're making alcohol and popsicles, but they got to keep them separate. You know what I mean? Like we make all these other precautions for things that kids would be attracted to,
Why not
but-
the jump bike?
but then you put the junk bike out and then you act like kids are not gonna want to play with them.
What about paying into a fund? Like if we had a jump bike for kids of Providence and everybody paid into like a bucket where these kids could use the bikes
So
without
like
stealing
Saturday
them.
from 2 to 5, it's free.
Yeah, like, you know, and then
like
that way they
that.
can ride on the bikes. Like, obviously, it's not going to alleviate all the issues,
But
but
it
then
might.
at least that way they're not going to be
It'll
stealing
kill
them
a
because they
lot
can
of,
actually
kids
use it.
stealing
You know, and
That would be dope.
Jump
That
is
would
still
be
getting
dope.
their money,
Yeah.
but the kids are still able to use the bikes, and everyone is still able to use them to do
Or
what they
maybe
need
we
to
can
do.
have an event and have Jump Bike sponsor it. And let
And
them-
Because
let
Jump
people,
Bike
like,
sponsors
donate.
a lot of stuff.
Right.
They really do.
Right. They and that's why I don't want us to take it out of our community because it's a big deal.
'Cause
Right.
it's
How can we
positive.
leave it in the
But
community?
That also came with them raising the prices on them.
Because initially there was a point where the jump bikes they had a much lower fee for people on like assistance, where it was like you could pay one fee for the entire month and just ride. And I thought that was dope
Right.
as hell because like somebody who's trying to get up out of government assistance, who's like I want to get a job,
But
I can't get a car. Right.
Yeah, but then they restrict them too. You can't even ride them out of certain areas.
Which is fine. But at least you're giving people an opportunity to try to do something. Where there's a lot of people are like, I can't get a job, I can't get to work, I can't do it. You know what I mean? You're giving them some kind of help. We're like, okay, we're trying to help you work on something, and then that kind of got scaled back, and now the prices got raised up way higher than they were. So now where are we at? You're now you look like you're funneling people out, funneling out the low income people,
Yeah.
and this is just
And you
for.
have to do something. You remember when we were in high school and
We were in high school.
it was a stretch with that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, when y'all were in high school. Go ahead.
You remember when we were in high school
Yes.
and you got the free bus pass?
Yes.
Free bus
you-
pass was a big deal.
That was
So,
a hustle.
Huge.
wait, but that was
Yeah, we
when you
remember
guys-
that, yeah.
So when you got the free bus pass, and it was like
Now
if you
it's
came
10
from
rides.
a certain, not a certain neighborhood, but if you were enough of a distance away from the school,
Yeah, you got a
and
free bus
you know
pass.
you didn't have any transportation, they gave you a free bus pass. Like, why not? I don't know if they're still doing that in the high schools. I think they are. But why not also do like a free jump card? Where
Right.
like if you can't get on the bus where you live, you can get on a jump bike, and they have like a certain amount of money on it so they can use it whenever they
For
need to.
or for certain hours, like before school, so from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. to get you to school.
You have your school ID.
Yeah, that's a
If
good
you have your
idea
school
too, because
ID.
now they got ways to get around during school. They got
Right.
easier ways to bunk now. Oof, I wish I had.
Yeah, so
these
from like
bikes.
6 to imagine bunking with jump bikes.
Reminiscent.
So yeah, if you
Yeah,
use
not
it
during
from,
school hours.
no, so from like 6 to 8 and from like 1:30 to 3:30, so you can get to school and get your ass home.
And then some of them have jobs after school. Like if you need to take
Yeah,
a jump
that's
bike to
true.
work,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But there's also the bus. You can
And then
get
that
your ass
also
on
is
the
an
bus.
initiative to stay in school. If you're a student, you get these perks. You
Right, because I use that same free bus pass that you're talking about to get my ass to work at Burger King.
know. I sure did.
The
I was
MBTA
right at the mall,
gives the kids in
working
Boston
at
benefits
Westview.
too, perks
Yeah.
on the train and stuff.
So
They
why
should
not
do
do it
that
with the
here.
jump bikes? That way they have access to them, especially the ones that they really can't afford it. Everyone's like, oh, well, it's so cheap, but some people really can't
afford the
it.
$2.
They really can't.
And
these
who
kids
wants to
just
give
want
who wants to give their kid connections to their,
to their
debit card?
right? You need to get on the bike and go
They're,
ahead. and
buying,
get
they're
the
going to Walgreens and buying snacks instead.
If you don't, I'm saying this up.
She's been there before.
I have.
She said Walgreens.
There was a Walgreens right down my high school.
She's definitely
My
been
aunt
there.
caught me there. I didn't even think that it was still school hours. I'm racking up on snacks, and I see my aunt. I was like, "Hey," and then she's like, "Aren't you supposed to be in school?" And I was like, My mom called me in like
You were
5
like,
minutes.
well,
You
Community.
can hear her voice from over
Community.
here.
Community.
And we have to look out for these young black kids.
We do.
Because we cannot trust the state of Rhode Island. Girl, let me tell you something. The state of Rhode Island is now taking over Providence Public Schools. It is getting crazy out here.
They had
Providence
to.
Public Schools perform the lowest in the
Yeah,
country.
that was a big
Providence. That's not even Rhode Island schools.
Yeah.
Just
crazy.
Providence.
Because it wasn't always like that.
To the point where they have taken Providence Public Schools away from Providence, and now the state of Rhode Island is going to be governing over Providence Public Schools.
That's
I'm
fucking
sick.
wild.
I mean, in one the high school that I went to, in fact, I
Which
forgot
one did you
what
go to?
Adelaide, Dr. George Alvarez.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
that one.
I don't know.
it's
what
right
that is.
behind Popeyes on Reservoir,
Ah, why-
the plaza where
I
the
mean, I
Stop and
wasn't gonna
Shop used to
bring
be
up.
at.
I wasn't gonna bring up the Popeyes.
But
thing,
that school
that's why I
that
know
was
it.
one of the first schools to have the lowest testing scores in the state. And what they did was they gave all the teachers the freedom to do whatever they want with the curriculum as long as they can get the kids to learn. And then they started providing like emotional
like resources.
support for them because
that's
clearly
big.
the scores got to be
And they
connecting
started
to
giving out
something
the
else.
iPods. Remember that one year they were giving out iPods?
Really? I didn't. That's not fair. It's probably just
Well,
yours.
that was
Yeah.
way before my time.
They were giving out iPods.
I mean, but Providence has been desperate for a while, so they need it. I'm not even mad at it because where else is the funding gonna come
Yeah,
from?
but the state of Rhode Island, they're not gonna care for them schools.
That's tough.
They don't care for them now.
Sure don't. It's
So-
low income. Providence is a low income city.
But
That's
we got to
true.
get to the root why these kids are doing so bad in school.
Ultimately,
You know what I mean?
Like
They're
it's-
poor.
Because the kids
They
are
are
not
but
dumb.
we can't.
Let's get that
They're
clear.
far
The
from-
kids are
just
not
they're
dumb.
far
blame
from
that
dumb.
on being
Right.
poor.
if they could hack
Because
into
there's-
a
It
jump
is
bike, they're
exactly
not
that.
dumb.
No,
It is.
because I too was poor and I didn't. Do
Yeah, but
that
you didn't
bad.
learn much.
What
And
do you
I'm
mean?
saying we didn't like. I went to college and I was not prepared for college.
And a lot of people have
100%.
said that.
No, I get that, but our test scores wasn't at its lowest neither.
Because
They were still low though.
Yeah.
They were low, but
And
they're not
lowest
at
in the
lowest in
country.
the country.
But
yeah, they were.
understand.
You're talking about
They were always
Providence
lowest.
is not as poor as other cities.
Like Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah,
it's
like,
So
you know
then
what I
that
mean? Like-
speaks to that though, because okay, look at Providence and Barrington.
and all the resources.
Barrington High is a public school. Let's say like Central. Central is a Providence public school, but Barrington,
Yeah,
the
but-
community
oh, you said
pays
Central, not
into the
Providence.
curriculum. They pay into the teacher funds. They pay into everything. The community supports the school, and because they're not in a low income area, they have the money to provide to the school to make sure that all the kids have Chromebooks to take home to do their homework. Like the kids in the Providence school system, they don't even have computers at home. Some of them are illiterate. They can't read. Like they are learning at such a slower rate than other students in neighboring towns
And
that are
that's
like
because of the
15
lack of
minutes away.
resources.
That's lack of resources, which comes
Absolutely.
from a lack of finances.
Yes,
That is the root.
absolutely.
It's
You
not
know
about
what's
these kids being
crazy?
dumb. They're not dumb.
They're not dumb
You
at
know,
all.
somebody was Tapia. He was teaching me about like all the funding that Providence gets. That's all public record. You can see how much money the
where
state
it all
gives
goes.
Providence. And a lot of the money is not going back to them kids.
It's
So we
not.
got to find out what the people up top are doing with that
They're literally
funding.
paying principals. Principals make the most money in public schools.
They make like $80K.
Which is deserved because being a principal of a private
It's
public
hard.
school is hard. I would never say drop the
They had to drop assistant principals in some schools
Right.
just to keep the principals, and that's
Right.
hard for a principal.
to-
You got all these teachers
This is my
working
only
under
my
you.
only help. This is my backup, and you get rid of them.
Especially when all the kids are going wild.
But like, yo,
Yeah.
You
Not
know,
easy.
Also, we got to we have to blame our the people in office.
Yeah, hold
in
them
our
accountable.
own city, in our own jurisdictions. You know, the wards or districts, whatever they call them. Go to them people. They hustle so
That's
hard
true.
when they want to get elected,
And
but
they
when
can
they're
make
elected, what
changes.
what are they doing?
The councilman, like you're saying,
You know what
like
I mean?
like not the mayor, like the smaller
Yeah.
for your particular
Mhm.
district.
The representative.
Because
people that
you
are
got
good at it.
potholes on your street and you're paying
councilman
car
and-
taxes and you're paying house taxes. Why should you have potholes?
For example, I just seen a not to switch the whole subject, but
But
I just
switching the whole
seen
subject.
article on zip codes being taxed.
I
and,
saw that.
But but let's
02903, which is downtown and all the richer areas in Providence, is getting taxed
tax
almost
cuts, right?
almost
50% less.
50% less than the poor areas.
Yeah.
You know, like
Which makes no sense.
02908 is getting charged 78% versus the 33 that downtown is getting charged.
And like you said,
how is
downtown.
that like
Downtown
what are
is
we
part
doing?
Pay
of
more.
the whole gentrification thing, which we talk about all the time. So
changing
they're
right before our
they're
eyes.
gentrifying. That's why the jump bikes thing is so near and dear to my heart, because I feel like that's part of the whole gentrification process. We wanted these bikes for these people who are coming into your city, but we don't want it for the people who are in your
in
city.
the city.
That's
yeah.
what I was saying to someone else. I'm like, look at all these beautiful changes they're making for other people.
Right.
None of these changes are
Not
for
for us.
us. But we built this city.
But we
And
also
we
don't
own this city.
utilize
That's-
the things that are built for other people. We complain about them, like how they just put that walking bridge up.
Which I
When
think
the
the
jump
walking
bikes
bridge
came.
is pretty dope. I mean, I
It's
know
beautiful,
it was
but it's
expensive as fuck.
unnecessary.
It was expensive as fuck.
22.
And, you know, Brazilian hardwood and stainless steel is a lot.
You're gonna start
They had to
stealing wood
do
from
it.
that
They
bridge.
had to
But
do
but
it.
but it is something
be
that's
there, yo.
needed for the city.
They have to
because-
beautify
right,
Middle of the
boop,
night.
the city.
Right.
It has to be more metropolitan. That's what brings money to states and brings money to cities.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
look at Boston. I mean, I don't think they're trying to be like Boston.
No, they are.
But they're trying to be
turning
very
into a
close, too.
college
because
city.
honestly,
Yeah,
I live
we
in
have so
Providence.
many
Like I
colleges
said,
here.
I live in a house that's owned by my mom. Right. I got a text message one day that said, "My name." He said, "Hey Genevieve, spelled correctly."
Said
Genevieve.
correctly.
Right. This address, my address was in the text. I think I brought it up a few weeks ago. We wanted to know if you're willing to sell this house. I'm like, first of all, what the fuck?
what I say?
This is
What
my
I say?
house.
Look,
Right.
yeah.
Why
Your
would I?
number?
Did I say I was?
How'd you get my
no
number?
lie, look,
Trembling.
nah, man.
Your hair's sticking up.
Yeah, because I just
You need
had
a
the
sweater?
same conversation with
He's
you
about to punch me.
Did that happen to you? too?
about no
Not with the cancer.
about
angle.
about
you're right,
how
you're right.
This is the perfect time to buy houses.
this
a
is the
seller's
perfect
market.
time
It
for
is.
minorities to buy houses. The
100%.
government is giving people money to
Oh,
buy
yeah.
houses.
It's big.
Like literally,
They
here
are.
take 20
Grants. They're
grand,
giving
put a
grants.
down payment.
Grants.
You
Yeah,
know,
give it
longest you have a credit score of 650,
on,
you're
credit.
eligible.
I'm out.
and here we go. This is what I
Credit's
talk
king.
about. Fix your credit.
Money talks.
Right. Financial
You know, whether we're
literacy is a
poor,
big deal.
we have no resources, our credit
It's
is
easier
king.
said than
You
done.
know, no.
No,
Once you stop
Once you start,
spending your
I'm
money
sorry.
on Gucci
That-
belts and putting it on a card, then we can have credit.
I don't buy any of that stuff, and I'm still
But-
broke.
I feel
But
like he's
a
firing
lot
shots
of-
at somebody.
He always does
because
this.
a lot of us do that. A lot of us minorities want to show off to other poor minorities versus
Somebody
getting
No,
your
it's
getting your back.
systematic
You have a point.
oppression.
You have a
Yeah,
But
point.
but
the
even
thing is-
still,
The thing is,
We
we
don't went
can't
on a
just
tangent.
always blame it on
It's not even us.
systematic
We're featured today.
oppression. We have to act ourselves
I mean-
to get us out that hole.
Which is
if
very
we
important.
continue to think in that crab bucket mentality, we're just gonna be there forever,
It's also
pulling
systematic
each other
oppression,
down.
though.
It is.
it
You know what I
is
mean?
also
System
that
is
because
built
I always
to
say
keep us down.
people who are
System
poor
wasn't built
pay
for us.
higher interest rates, and people who have a
Facts.
lot of money get 0% interest. And I'm like, that's kind of backwards. But that's a whole different story for a whole other day.
But- You know
But
that.
do this. Let me just plug this in. Do this. Go to your local bank. The 300 that you're gonna spend on a pair of J's,
They're only
put it
190.
in. Put it in some people buy
Not
two of
300.
them.
They're 125.
You know what I
No,
mean?
they went up.
I
The
couldn't-
prices is crazy
No,
now.
I
they're
couldn't
still
per-
125.
I could not.
If
let
you're
give that
over a
false
7.5,
information away.
you are paying over
190.
150, 190.
Okay.
So that's
It's like, I'll
that's
take that.
that's the
She's
190.
like, that's
I went to
So
work
okay.
today.
do this. Save for 2 pair of J's. Go to the bank. Put that deposit into a credit card, and I guarantee you, within 6 months, that credit score of a 550 would be 650 without you doing nothing.
Assuming that people are buying J's.
I was gonna say, like-
people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Or just,
I
Most of the
see it
time.
all the time. Like let's not turn a blind eye to our own people. Like this is what keeps us in this hole. I'm sick of telling
There's
people.
the cancer energy.
Well,
Of
You
course
asked
you
for this.
But we gotta be honest.
You asked for this.
Of course you agree.
Listen,
So,
I too was
I agree
that
to-
person in
I
that
too.
line. So I learned about credit. So if
I
our
need
own
you
people
in line.
aren't teaching
Keep buying
us,
J's.
who is?
But where are they gonna learn that
I
from?
need that.
Right here. I'm giving you the first tip
They're not listening to this.
for free.
Wow.
They
You
don't
know
listen
this-
to podcasts.
listen,
no, like
listen,
we have the
younger,
audience.
the younger kids he's describing don't
But
listen to
at the end of the
podcasts.
day,
you're right.
no, you can put this as a soundbite on Instagram.
You're right.
Listen, the kids these days need to know that with that little money, you can build a fortune.
No, you're right.
Credit is king.
Credit is king. That is a fact.
Yo,
That's a hashtag.
there are places that are getting rid of cash.
You got him started.
Like you can't.
You're not gonna
spend
be able to shut him off
money.
now.
You
I
gotta.
know. I didn't
You
even
gotta
get my
buy
point out.
everything with credit cards or debit
I
cards.
gotta shut up.
If you don't have that, what are you gonna do? Like you can't go to some of these expensive restaurants. Not to flip it around, but like you can't go to half of these
Capital
places
Grill?
and try to take out cash. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
but they
to
were
them.
saying that about Starbucks, I think downtown, where they put a sign up where there was no cash allowed, but it was people coming at them like, you're trying to keep out the hobos because they're panhandling, getting money, and they're trying to come in and buy coffee. So they're like, all right, it was card only because these homeless people don't have cards. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to my original point. That was a very important point, though.
Plug that in for real. When you drop the soundbite,
We don't delete anything.
We don't.
don't delete that
But-
bit right there.
But please delete that.
Don't delete hobo.
Don't believe hobo again.
No, because
Like I
it's
said,
important.
hoboism.
Back to your point.
Hoboism. Hashtag hoboism. So I got this text message. I'm like, first of all, this ain't even my house. This is my mama's house. We don't even got the same last name. How y'all get my number? So many questions, not enough
Damn.
answers, whatever. Then I get a phone call. No bullshit. A week later, somebody calling me, asking me about my brother's house, which is like a mile away. Like, oh, do you know who owns such and such, blah, blah, blah street? Want to know if he was willing to sell. So I'm like, what is going on? Why are they trying to get us to sell our homes we've been living in for like over a decade? And somebody else at my job was like, maybe there's something coming in the area that they know about.
They need to be on top of
That
this.
they're like, if we can get as much property as possible, we can make some money. And so then I talk to my
You gotta get the
sister-in-law.
black
Let me ask
people
you a
out the way.
question. What area
they
is this
know.
in?
This is near Branch Ave, province. So
Outskirting downtown, right?
close to downtown.
Boom.
So, because I've been saying for a
Right.
while, the
Relax,
downtown's
yes,
been
we all know the
gentrifying, right? But peep this. My sister-in-law pointed out something. She was like, they're putting the train station in Pawtucket, which is going to be
The MBTA.
a hub for people who work in Boston, who've up until this point, the closest they can get is to commute to
It's South
Attleboro
yeah.
and then take
the
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 train.
commuter rail is gonna connect to Pawtucket.
The commuter rail can so
That
that
property in Pawtucket
these
too.
two homes
excited
being
about it.
close to Pawtucket it's going to be worth a lot to these real estate companies
I'm
in about
excited.
3-5 years because
So-
you
so
own property in
I own
Pawtucket.
Pawtucket, so I'm excited.
Right. And so they're trying to snatch up this property because when the guy called me, I said to him,
I'm gonna buy my first house.
in Pawtucket,
Pawtucket.
you should. Because I was like, to him, I said it on the phone. I was like, because the guy who texted me, I texted him, how did you get my number? And he never replied. So the guy who called me, I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. How did you get this number? And he's like, well, it's public record, blah, blah, blah. I said, that's cool and all, but my name is not on either of these houses, and my name is not on my cell phone. So how did you connect these
Well,
numbers?
through the records, they can see who you're related to.
And that's what he said. We could see relatives, blah, 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 blah.
Were these New York numbers?
They're going super
Yeah,
They were
they're
hard.
New York
cracking down.
numbers, right?
No, they were
They're
local.
401,
Because
yeah.
a lot of the companies buying now are from New York and
Really?
like
Philly.
Philly. Like if you drive in a neighborhood, I guarantee you'll see construction workers from out of state working on houses. What does that mean? That those are the people buying the,
But
you know,
Tucker's
because they
also
bring
up and
their own
coming.
people.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's been for the past couple of
Yes,
years.
facts.
And
So
the rent is
there's
cheaper.
something happening, and
much cheaper,
we're
yeah.
not privy to even that, and it's in our
And they're building
backyard.
an Amazon headquarters over here too.
Are they really?
Yep.
Down here?
That's a big deal.
Man, I'm excited.
That's a
even
big
more
motherfucker.
now.
They
Yeah.
put their bid in for that big one, and you know we didn't.
We
Because-
didn't get the big one. Though.
Because I live in Woonsocket. I mean, I don't live in Woonsocket.
Hey.
I almost said some crazy shit. I don't live in Woonsocket. Scratch
Whoa,
that.
not the Woonie.
No, I work in Woonsocket. I live in
Ooh,
Providence.
Chile.
she said I almost said
That's a
some
that's a
crazy
whole.
shit.
Yeah, that.
Huh?
That's a whole.
Yeah.
It's a food desert
But I
as well.
work in
Well, property up there
Woonsocket.
is super cheap.
But property in
You can
Woonsocket
get you a
is super
multifamily
cheap.
pretty cheap. up there.
And the houses are big. The apartments are
They're
big. And the
big,
houses,
yes.
they're like
Yes.
super big. Because historically, there were people, there used to be factories in Woonsocket.
Brownstones and stuff like that.
Just regular tenements. There were factories in Woonsocket,
So
and
we had
so the people who owned the factories or ran the factories, they built these super big mansions. So there's big houses
house people, yeah.
in Woonsocket in certain areas, and then the apartments are huge. So you can get a really good rental property, and people who
Wow,
live.
Hold on
old
to it,
fashioned
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yes, and Woonsocket is close to the Massachusetts line, which I didn't realize till I worked there. It's like 5 minutes from Bellingham. So there's
Yeah.
people who live and
It's
work
30
in-
minutes from Boston with no traffic.
Literally,
Yeah.
you take
Yeah.
495. So there's people who live in Mass who are looking for that Woonsocket
Yeah.
property
Yeah.
to rent because it's cheap and it's close to work without
Now
traffic.
with the MBTA at Pawtucket, it's gonna be super
And
convenient.
there's a Worcester line
yes,
too, so you
and it's
got
right
that,
next to Worcester.
Right.
Well, you'll get to work in 30 minutes
Yeah.
in Boston
So
City.
those people that are
And they
like,
don't have to live in Boston because it's so expensive.
they get
Right.
all the tax.
So they're
cuts
trying
that
to,
are
like,
down
onto
here,
something.
right?
Move
Yeah.
out of Boston so they can pay cheaper rent because it's mad expensive.
So it's a
to live in
whole
Boston.
it's a whole thing. So
And they're
if-
trying to keep the out-of-staters here. All the colleges are occupied mostly by out-of-staters. and
Right.
That
We
will
want them
pay
to
for
stay
them,
here.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Because
because
Another-
Master Rhode
another
Island.
thing that,
Got a ton of schools.
You know, I work for Brown, and Brown and Johnson and Wales have been
Johnson
buying
and Wales.
all of downtown.
Son,
They actually, Brown was
Say it
trying to
again.
buy the Superman building.
say it fucking again.
They
Who's gonna afford these lofts? That's what I want to know.
So, well,
'Cause
yeah.
I
That's,
can't-
that's also trickling down to the neighborhoods.
Guys.
That's why you see rent right now at like 1,300.
Because they're trying to move into lower South Providence, what they call it.
So-
You know, the
Historic
West End.
Elmwood.
Historic Elmwood. what they call where Cranston Armory is. Where Broadway and all
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All of that.
The West. They call it
The West Side.
They call it the West Side now. It's the West
It's
End.
the West End. Stop being dumb. So they're trying to, occupy
It's my
these
hood.
spaces
Big balls.
because it's convenient. And so just be diligent. Know your area. Stay diligent. Stay where you live.
And also, while you staying diligent and staying where you live, make sure you follow us on social media.
Hey.
PLSDLTHIS on Twitter, the same handle. On Facebook, we're pleased to leave this. On YouTube, we are pleased to leave this. For those that watch us on YouTube, there will be no video as Brother Bim is out of town and he has a camera with him. Too bad, because we have some wonderful people with us. So make sure you follow us on social media and also follow us on your favorite streaming platforms such as Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all that good stuff. Fellow podcasters, can you tell the good people where to find us?
You should have told us we got cameras.
You're not talking to the
We
mic.
wing it.
Oh, I said we got cameras. We would have recorded for y'all, family.
We wing it. Thank you, though.
But yeah, tell
Next
the people
time
where
you
they can
come,
find you.
family.
on
She
social
called you
media.
family.
She did.
Hey.
She was like family.
Gross.
I had to think about it. I was sick when I said it. I'm not gonna lie. So you can follow us at SparkUp Podcast on all streaming platforms and also on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, well, Twitter. But
Well, no, on streaming services, we're still SparkUp
this is
PVDs.
SparkUp PVD.
SparkUp
So
is one word. PVD.
SoundCloud. Google Music. Is it Google Music? Google Play?
Everything
Play.
now.
We're on
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts.
Overcast, Stitcher,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
May
Everywhere.
I ask why you dropped the PVD part?
We don't like this place.
Wow.
No.
No.
Speak for
in
yourself.
reality,
I know they were gonna jump at it.
It's just like me.
the original thought
She's
was,
like, they
you
ruined
know,
my jump bike, yo. So drop that PVD.
we're still
Facts.
PVD, so whether we drop PVD or not, we're still from here. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
We
At
just
the
want
end
to
of
make
the
it
day,
sound
we
more
can-
appealing to other people.
We can
Okay.
reach out further. We don't pigeonhole ourselves to just Providence.
Because people who are in Florida don't know what PVD is.
Well, then make them learn.
That's right.
Some of them do.
And
They
they
travel.
gonna learn either
That's
way.
They're gonna learn either way.
Airport code.
And I say it a lot too, to big up local talent, to big up ourselves, to big up Rhode Island. So you know we blast you guys up when you guys were having your show and when you release episodes and stuff like that. And like Chip Doug, shout out to Chip, he's hosting our live show that's happening on the 28th at 7 at
29th.
Rosendale. 29th, you're right. I'm sorry, at Rosendale.
And
So,
he's
like-
also having a show on the 30th at FET. It's sold
Yes,
out.
yes.
It's a
no,
all
it's the male version
R&B.
of that show.
So
Yes,
so if
all
you-
male
so if you're-
R&B
you're
singers.
excited about it. We're actually gonna we may I want to
No, he said
He
we could
committed.
raffle off some tickets to
We're gonna
anyone
raffle
who.
off some tickets
to
the
anyone who-
sold out on our live.
But you've got to
Right,
register
right,
on
definitely
Eventbrite.
But yes, so on top of what we're doing, we're raffling off prizes. To make sure you are entered in this raffle, you need to register. Go to eventbrite.com and search "Please Delete This," and you will see you can register there, and it's for free.
And it's free.
yeah, so do it.
It's gonna be a great time.
Gratis.
We have
this
all
is
kinds
gonna
of
be
cool,
great.
awesome friends, like our new friends from SparkUp.
Yes. And also, shout out to our vendors. We have people working with us to make this happen, such as Kingston 8, BBB Fit, Food on Deck, and some other people that I can't think of. Just Right Entertainment,
Chip Douglas.
Chip Doug, good people at Rosendale, good
yes.
people.
The Kid Called L
yes,
Entertainment.
yes,
Martin
yes.
Famous.
Yes.
All that
yes,
great.
yes.
Thank you all for all the help that you're giving us.
Yes.
This is gonna be an amazing night.
Indeed.
8 days from now. Well, by the time you hear this, 7 days from now.
Or 6.
6 days.
Maybe.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'm good at math, but not today.
My stomach hurts. So before I know we're getting kind of late, but I do have a topic that I want to quickly try to touch upon.
Is it dogs on shopper carts?
No.
Is it ever really quick?
No.
It's okay.
It's not a bad thing. No, I'm quiet. So I was being messy today, and I was overhearing a conversation that
Yes.
two women were having, and one of them said, "Man, you should have knew. He gave you all the red flags." And I was like,
Oh God, not
You see the thing
relationships.
that
We'll be here
Bim
all night if we're talking
posted on
about
Twitter?
relationships.
And then I saw that when I was leaving work, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna access. So, what are some? I assume you guys. I don't know if you guys are in relationships, whatever. But we're going back to dating.
Oh
Hypothetically,
God, we were talking about tot and trots last night. Chile.
Stressed out.
Tot and what?
Tot and trots.
Okay.
I don't know what that
Knocking
is.
off boots.
Or is it trot and tots? It's trot and tots.
I'm so old.
Tying straps,
What are you
knocking the
talking about?
boots off, knocking the socks off.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I just call it trot and tots because I'm an old woman on the inside.
You sound old on the inside. Like you have like a very mature voice.
Thank you.
So yes, when you're dating somebody, what are some red flags that you're like, no?
I don't want
Telling
to answer
you
this
what to
because
wear
I
when
feel like all my red flags are things that I do, but I do them not because of a red flag reason. It's just my natural, like
Yeah.
keeping your phone on silent. I just keep my phone on
too.
silent because
I don't
I
think
don't
that's
like
a red flag.
I don't like I don't like hearing the noises because it's all the notifications go off.
Yeah.
Now,
All
now
different
here's
Outside
my
of here,
question.
bling, bling.
What if the person you're dating is flipping their phone upside
down. I do that too.
My phone's always up.
But
like-
but,
but
but
like-
to me that's a red
Why?
flag.
But like if we're sitting at lunch and I do
I mean,
this.
Do you hear what she just said though?
What'd she
I
say?
asked her why she flipped it. She said she don't want people in her business. So that is a red flag.
Because people are naturally like addicted to their
so
phones.
listen,
So when a notification goes off, you're gonna look at
nosy,
someone's phone,
yeah.
not thinking. You know what?
If
I
her
mean, I
phone was
don't
sitting
even
right
wanna-
here, and it was a boost. I'm like, oh,
You look, oh, who's
You could
texting
look,
us?
though.
See me, I feel like when you're on a
mine's
date
on
or when you're with somebody,
yeah, you get
You-
that.
you should give them your full attention.
Yeah,
so
so
I
you-
like to turn my phone upside down
So
because I don't want to be
wanna look at it,
distracted.
Yes.
But it could look shady as fuck when I always have my phone upside down.
It is
Okay,
shady.
so-
I think a red flag is though someone telling you where to go and where not to go.
Ooh, commanding.
Or what to wear.
Yeah, what to wear, what not to wear, who to hang out with. Just trying to control the life that you're already accustomed to.
Okay, so you're dating somebody, and like 3 weeks in, he's like, "Nah, don't go over there with them. Go over here."
I'm gonna
with
be
me."
like,
See, you thought.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, but
I think another red flag is saying like, I don't believe in relationships.
Oh
Like,
God, that
girl,
is the red flag.
Get out of
Girl,
here.
But
that
I
is
don't,
the
though.
flag.
Jealousy
I don't believe in
is
them.
another one
Like,
too.
for
If
me-
you don't believe in relationships, then you don't believe in
I
this.
was gonna say, oh, you're right.
I mean, you don't believe in this
in
partnership.
Yes, I do.
Hey.
It's like no, and some people just hang in there like I'm gonna change his mind or
I've
change her
done that.
mind, and I'll do this and this and this. And it's like,
Or you
no.
ask them, what are like? So what's going on with trying to get the like? So what are we
What are
question?
we?
And
Oh,
they're like,
God.
we're just chilling,
We
just
just
vibing.
yeah, like
But you see that
You know the
question-
vibes.
You see a lot of people do that because one, they're either
Uh-oh.
scared or
Well, they're trying to figure things out.
they're trying to.
But for
play
how
a game,
long?
you know
But
what I
I know
mean?
5 years of
But now-
figuring things
but now-
out, like
but now-
figure it out.
I actually have a question. Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, how long did it take you to propose
Propose?
to your wife? How long were you guys together?
Before you answer
did
that, can I just say Darren's proposal was fucking beautiful. I was there.
Aw.
It's because he's a Cancer.
It really is. I
He's
put the-
emotional.
It
He
was
loves
beautiful
Mad
as
Hard.
fuck.
I do. When I love, I go all in. I'm gonna say we were together.
Oh boy.
So it's a little
Yeah,
bit.
you did
bit
the
of-
long-
the,
So
the
muddy.
history is kind of So we were together for a little bit. I want to say
What's a
for
little
like a year or two,
Okay.
and we broke up for like half a year or so, and we got back together. When we got back together, I knew I was gonna propose to her, but I waited for like a good.
Why'd you wait?
I had money. I had to buy the
Okay.
ring, but I waited for like a good year.
I feel like a lot of guys
So-
say that. Like, I didn't have the money to take
Well,
care of her.
But
I didn't
years
have the money to buy
years
a
of
nice
respectable
ring.
amount of time.
Yeah,
That's
years-
fine.
Yeah.
You didn't say like a decade.
Yeah, so
No.
overall, you guys have
Yeah,
been together
'cause
for
some
like
guys-
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got married.
And then I got
Some
married.
people are together for 10 years and nothing happens. Or some people are engaged for 10 years and nothing
Because
happens.
there's the idea that things change after you're married, and things do change. Depending if not depending, but whether you're together for like 3 years or 10 years, as soon as you get married, things change somehow. I don't know why. I don't
It's
know how.
because of what society
But
teaches you.
But it's no. Things change. Like things are changed in a good way. Like that's my wife. To be able to say that's my wife and I'm somebody's husband is pretty cool. But there's the other changes you don't really see until you're like, oh, that's different. Like, and I can't describe it. Even right now, I'm trying to figure out like how did things change.
It's the
they
title,
just
the pressure you give
What's
to
the
the
best
title.
change?
What's the best change?
Having a wife.
Ooh, that's a good
Everything's
question.
the best
That
change.
is a
Your
good
entire
question.
life
Because
changes,
There's-
and the whole thing
there's
is
gotta
great.
be
There's
something
good
that
and
you know what I
bad.
mean. It's like, wow, this changed and it's marvelous and I love it.
So
You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I get you. I feel you. I feel like the best change is knowing that that person chose you as their
What's the
person.
shit
That
don't-
is such the cancer answer.
It is.
by the way.
Such
It
a
really
good
is.
answer.
Because like
I love it.
if you think about it, like so on top of everything that goes into planning a wedding, and then on top of the marriage and all that it encompasses, and the pros and cons to it, like at the end of the day, that person decided to do that with you. So it's like they could have
That's
done it with
wild.
anybody, literally anybody. They could have, I don't know, but they chose you to go through that with.
See, here's the
You-
thing
you
that I
could've
hear
been
from a lot of
anywhere in the
people.
world, but you're here with me.
You here with me? God bless.
For me.
It's full circle. I hear from some people that we put different pressures from society. Like, okay, you've been with this person for 4 years, so you
Ugh,
should
it's
you
so
should get
horrible.
engaged with them, right? And so they propose or they accept a proposal from somebody, and then they're like, "But I don't really like this person." And now you're just kind of existing with this person for another 4
Just
years
settling.
before you can accept that. You know what?
Yeah.
This isn't really it.
That's a flag.
So
Settling.
when is the right time?
Settling is a huge
just
flag.
know I
You
feel
have to
like-
know it in your core, but at the same time, you have to also recognize in your core when you say, you know what, this ain't it. Some
You
people
just
A lot
ignore
of
that.
people
know.
ignore that.
So a lot of
People
ignore
ignore their intuition.
that. Yeah. Like,
I
you
think
know what?
another red
This
flag is
person-
not being able to talk
Especially
about
women.
certain topics with your partner.
Okay.
Like you feel like you can't get into deep conversation with them
Mm.
about certain things.
Unless you're surface level like them.
Hey,
Yeah, but if you're
some people
surface level,
just
you won't
can't
even
have
care
a
about the
conversation.
conversation.
Period.
You get what I mean?
Like,
But
you
if
know,
you're looking for
That was
deeper
my
conversation and they're
And
just
it's
not,
like, nah.
it's not
that's a red
stimulating.
flag,
it's
girl.
not-
Get up out
I
of
think
there.
a red flag too is if they don't get along with your family. They have to at least respect them because they're gonna be around for.
What if your family doesn't get along with them?
Well, that's a different story.
That has
At
to be
least-
respect at least.
But you know what I
yeah.
mean. As long
Yeah.
as the other is, because I don't want to, you know,
Go ahead, gender
put it in the
neutral.
box. 'Cause, so whoever the person
Gang up
is,
on my friend. This is my friend, guys.
He's learning
it's
from
the
us.
cancer energy.
So-
Yes.
so like you know what I mean. You can't. I don't even know how to explain. Like I want to.
Don't laugh.
I had it, but I lost it.
Oh, Banz. I
What
think
if-
another red flag is if the person is not on the same page as you. in anything, not just in conversation.
But that's natural.
What's a red flag for you? Because it just seems like everything is
Ah.
great and in the middle.
I'm so easy. I'm so easy going. So I would say a red flag to me is when you get lost in that person to the point where you're like you're losing yourself.
75 degrees.
You're losing
So good.
it's like you wake up and it's that person, and you lose your friends because of that person, and you lose your family because of that person, and you just
That's
you don't
done it,
see
though.
it until
That's a
you're
dangerous
like
place to be.
in that person, and you're like, damn, I ain't got no like. So I was married previously, and nothing against my ex-wife, but I lost myself in that. Like I had no friends, I had nothing but my work, and them. So it's just like this is okay in the moment, but it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, I think the best thing is like finding someone that has their own life and encourages you to do the same,
Yes,
but can
There's that
still
balance.
respect.
There's that
Yeah.
balance,
A lot of people ignore that. You know, when somebody tries to help you and stuff like that, a lot of people think that, like, you know what I mean? And maybe it's a society thing. I don't know. But a lot of men and women think that's, like,
not the
taboo.
norm. Oh,
You know,
okay.
like you know, I've seen a lot of guys say, "Oh, she tried to help me. That I don't need her
I
help."
don't need her. Yeah,
You know what I mean? And vice versa. I seen women say, "Oh, he was treating me good, and this, that, the other. Like, he was kind of whack because he treated me good all the time."
That's
Like, you know what I
weird.
mean?
The
It's
good
just
guys
like
finishing
little
last.
things
Yeah.
that we want, but then again,
Then when we get it, it's like nah.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Jen-
what do we want?
Off topic. I just walked into a wall.
Oh.
Yes, Darren.
You know, yo, I seen
I'm
that
so
the other
clumsy.
day.
It's terrible, huh?
Which wall?
In the bathroom. I walked into the bathtub wall because the lights are off and I ain't got no glasses on.
All right,
Yeah.
that's warranted.
Darren has
lot
too
of
many
red
steps
flags.
going upstairs. So I count stairs when I walk up and down them, off topic. So usually most places have 12 stairs. His house has 14 going upstairs.
How
with
do
the
you
bathrooms.
count the steps?
It's a weird thing. I don't know. So it's just so I know when to stop going up and down. So
He has 2 extra steps.
It's
yeah,
just
he has
so I
2
know
extra
when
whole
to stop.
steps. And I have no glasses on.
I
It's
should stop
dark.
now.
I'm gonna count my steps today.
Yeah, count your steps.
Dang, I definitely got like 6 steps in my
I
house.
can't count. It's too much.
I got like a half a full step.
Half a step.
Like I have half of the
She
full
said half
step.
of a-
I know
half a
exactly
full
what you're
step.
talking about. It's one of those like curved steps.
Yeah, because you know, like going down into
Half
like,
a
my
full
apartment.
step.
So I got up to the top, and I'm like, all right, I really got to go to the bathroom, though. But it's dark. So I tried to turn the light on, and
This is a full
I was
story.
just mad confident that I knew where the toilet was, and I just, boom, head
It's
first.
hilarious.
Our conversations have been so great tonight that she hasn't had a chance to do this. And then as we get to the end of the podcast,
Nigga, I got a headache.
all right.
That's
I'm sorry,
hilarious.
Jen.
But
Don't
you was
sue
gonna
me.
ask me a question.
Because
I
I
was.
seen a little kid do that like
what's
2
your
weeks ago.
what's your red flag, Jen?
My red flags, there's lots of, listen, I've ignored too many red flags.
What's
Same.
the biggest? What's the biggest for you?
A liar is a red flag.
Son,
People just be lying, like
be
about random
lying.
stuff.
About dumb shit.
Lying.
Let me tell you something. I was
Horse
dealing.
playing is a red flag too. Like playing with their like choking, like not choking, but you know, like playfully,
Being
like
a little too rough.
A little
yeah,
like,
like being
That's not a red
aggressive.
flag.
some people
Not-
like
You just
that,
don't
you
like
know?
being choked.
No, not. I didn't mean literally getting choked. I mean like just using your hand. You know what? This is gonna sound wrong, but you know what I mean, right? That leads to most cases that has led to domestic violence. So that's a red flag.
Sheesh.
Putting your hands
Yeah,
on people.
go back to the liar
Keep your hands
thing
to
for a
yourself and
second.
let
I'm
this
the
be
liar.
used
Go back to the liar for a
nicely.
second.
I was dealing with this one dude for a while, right? And anybody who knows me knows that I had great potential coming out of high school. Where it's like you can get to any school you want to, blah 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 blah. I was in college, and it took me forever to graduate. It took me a long fucking time to get my degree,
Definitely
But you
handle
did
that.
it.
but
You
I did it.
But you
That's
did
the
it.
important part.
That's the important part. They don't ask how long it took you. They just ask if you did it. So when I finally graduated, dude, I was dealing with for a long time. I'm like, yo, I'm graduating college. I'm not really inviting so many people to my graduation. It's at 8 a.m. in Kingston. I want you to come. Came up with this old bullshit cockamamie reason why he couldn't come to my graduation. Cockamamie.
Not cockamamie.
Talking about, oh, well, I got my adult intramural basketball game on a Sunday morning. You don't get the fuck out of here.
I'm graduating from college.
How do you,
Wait,
how do
he's
you,
missing the college graduation.
how do you
For
Yeah.
a basketball,
For a
adult.
basketball game with other
Oh,
grown-ass
no.
men.
He gotta go.
Maybe.
Break up with him.
That day.
That
gotta
day.
go.
You know what I'm saying? So that was like,
Maybe? Or
bruh,
maybe?
cockamamie. You don't know how to spell that. It's fine.
Maybe?
You Haitian.
Maybe.
But listen,
How it sounds.
I'm in agreement.
Again, I find the
there
word
was so
cock
many
in my
people who
Googles.
barely even knew me who were like so ecstatic for me. Like, yo, I've known you virtually for so long, and I'm happy for you.
Virtually.
Oh,
I'm
I've
gonna
known,
that to
or I met you. I met you back in
When
05.
did we virtually meet?
Right.
We have a virtual.
I met you back in
relationship.
05, and I haven't seen you in 10 years, or 8 years, but I'm excited that you're graduating. And this whole fool that I was supposedly dealing with, this whole fool, talking about I can't go
Not
to
a
the
half
bar. I can't let these 40-year-old niggas that I play basketball with down on a Sunday morning. You don't get the fuck out my face. Red flag.
Liars.
Boy, if you don't,
If they want to do everything but spend time with you, get them out of here.
They don't
Boy.
make time with you. That's a red flag.
You know how to spell cockamamie?
Nah, I don't. I never tried.
Ruben, Banz.
Does
You know
that
how
have
to
a
spell
Q in it?
cockamamie?
Not
Does
a
it have
Q.
a
I don't know how
Q?
to spell it.
You can call him
me
Ruben.
neither.
Don't correct yourself.
Just
It's
yell
okay.
into your
Sorry.
phone. It'll tell you how to spell it.
Siri might know. Oh, you
No,
don't,
I
you
know
don't
how
do
to spell
Apple.
it. I'm looking at the
I feel like
spelling,
there
but
are
I'm like,
so
there's
many
such
more red flags
a different way to spell it.
There's a lot of red
Why am I
flags.
forgetting them?
I mean,
I feel like
this
for
one.
women, there are more red
They
flags.
disrespect their
Right.
mom,
Then
their
for
mom,
men.
their
Yeah.
own mom.
You-
when they
you know
disrespect their
what?
mom. That's a
Men
red flag.
You know what?
do not have as many red flags for women
You're
as
correct.
much as women
But
have
because
for
you
men.
guys are crazy, just generally.
Whoa, whoa.
Wow.
All right. So
Watch
first
your
off,
mouth. That's a broad statement.
she's gonna fight me before she leaves.
I have
This
to.
one just said how they treat our moms.
You know what's funny? I saw an article today my friends had sent me about a guy who cut his mom's head off and then had sex with it. And then the conversation
Whoa, that's
afterwards in the
dark.
group chat was, well, how did he have sex with the head? Like, did he do it in her mouth, in the ears, in the eyes, in the neck hole where he cut it from?
Oh,
And I
that's
said,
dark.
I
ladies,
think you have to delete this.
and I said, ladies, does it really matter?
All right,
Let's see.
right. We're missing the point.
We're
here.
missing the point here.
We're missing
That's a red flag.
That's a super red flag.
That right there
Girl,
is
I don't know what's
real
past
red
red.
to me.
Is that infrared flag?
I don't know.
Ultraviolet flag? I don't know what color is beyond red, but that's what that is.
Neon.
I mean, I'm not
Neon.
really sure. I'm not really
University,
sure about
right?
Dion. I don't even know anymore. He cut his mother's head off.
And then he fucked it.
I mean,
Not that I mean. I don't want to see none of these hands to that.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, sometimes you just gotta look past
But
that
he
shit,
got a
bro.
Let me
good
ask-
job. Like,
Let me ask a question.
He's in
Was
the
this
union.
person a white person?
Yes,
Of
absolutely.
course.
I'm not
but
surprised.
I
of
don't wanna say it. I don't
course.
wanna-
I'm not surprised.
But of course.
But of course.
Yes.
You guys should both do your
Accents?
Wait,
Your
wait,
accents.
what are you?
Librarian. And my dad's Ghanaian, so
Hey!
Yay.
Yes, sister.
And I know you're Cape.
He's
Oh, no,
Dominican.
I'm sorry.
He definitely said he's
I know
Dominican.
you're
We all
right.
from the
Okay,
same
you're cousins,
island.
so you're.
Yeah.
He's not good at math.
it's not his strong suit.
I don't
I'm
wanna
like,
say
I'm
it.
like, do
I
that.
feel like one of
If
you
he's
guys- I
Dominican,
thought
that
one of you
makes me
guys-
voila.
I know. I feel like one of you guys was Cape Verdean. Did I just make that up in my head?
Maybe in our past lives.
Ah,
you know.
yes. And the
I
past
mean,
life
we,
one- a
we
past
are all
life
black.
thing,
That's
yeah.
all that
Yes.
matters.
We're
We're
all
all black.
blacks.
You know.
We are the blacks.
Yes.
That's
So-
a Peter Tosh song.
You know.
Don't care where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're an African.
All right.
Facts.
That's-
Do you guys
that?
ever have people write in? Everybody should write in about the red flags. Just women, though.
We're gonna ask that question tomorrow. I'll try to put that up on the story.
For
I
next
like
week
that.
for the live show, that'd be dope.
Oh, yes.
I already have questions for the live
Like
show.
the craziest red flags that you
Yeah.
ignored.
Yes.
So you know how you just be ignoring signs? Like you just
I
be knowing
ignored
he's
so
trash
many
and just
times.
be
If he leaves the
ignoring
all the
it.
caps open in the house, that's a red flag.
Just be ignoring it. He would sleep
Yo.
with your best friend and you be
That was
like,
Matt. First of all,
but
no,
like
no,
we
that
was
was Matt
even
African.
together.
He was different.
Like,
That was
he
Matt
was
African. The way you did
going
this
through
thing
that.
right
He
here.
goes that all the time.
Are we
At
gonna
that
ignore
point,
the
it's-
African this
Nope.
thing that she just
She'll
did
suck
now?
her teeth next.
This thing she just did was real.
You ignore it. He would just blow up your head, Seth. You
Yes.
ignore it.
Sister.
He would kill your mother.
Auntie,
you ignore it.
Auntie was in front of me and Stop and Shop causing a whole disturbance.
And you ignore
The girl,
it.
the poor white girl said, "Do you have a Stop and Shop card?" She said, "I have it in here somewhere."
And you're just looking at her like, hey, if you don't move it, if you don't move it in front of me doing this kind of
Yes.
stupid foolishness.
Just
Come
pay
on, get out the way, man.
Why don't you have a phone number?
I'm sick.
Pay full price, bitch.
It is wild.
The English accent came out real quick at the bit.
That was me behind her. Like,
oh.
I can't cut the auntie in my head. Let me calm
Sick
down.
to my stomach at the entire thing.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sick at the red
Red
flags.
flags.
That I missed.
Oh, I don't
wanna
want
go
you to be
back.
my friend on social media.
I wish I could go back
Son.
and just kick some of them in the head.
Kick some of them or kick you for ignoring.
no, kick them.
Okay.
And then leaving them. Break up with them.
We can have a whole. We can get into a whole nother 2-hour conversation.
Right, right.
Yeah.
but
Let's
we-
just
let's
wrap it
wrap
up.
it
Oh,
guys.
man.
Cause I got a headache.
Big shout out to the
Walking into the bathtub.
pod.
SparkUp
I mean, we are a
Podcast.
podcast.
Ooh, oh,
Huh?
wow.
What'd you say?
Did you ever?
I was
There
rewinding,
was
you
a
know,
lot
to
happening.
that. So big up to the SparkUp Podcast for joining us.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you,
Thank you for
guys.
having us.
Shout out to Banz. Shout out to Ruben.
New season starting September 24th.
Oh.
Yes.
Let's
Oh.
plug that in.
Good
We're
job.
back.
What's going on here?
Make sure you check them out. Make
We're
sure you
coming
follow
back
them on
Omega Strong.
Omega Strong.
Keep
Yeah,
saying
you know.
Is that like a vitamin?
Omega. Omega.
Hey, fuerte.
Hey, there you go.
he's an artist and he abuses his wife. So
That's a bar.
Sábado gigante.
Isn't it also
Oh.
wow, that's mad freaks. That's from a stand-up.
wait, B vitamins? I know where she was going. Omega 3s.
Omega 3s, it is a
Yeah,
vitamin.
fish oil.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
come on, Omega 3s.
So,
But also Omega being like the most.
Come on, Omega 3s.
Push through.
Yo,
Get that vitamin.
and the church did say,
Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
I like that a lot.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. People, we are less than a week away from our live showing next Thursday for episode 78. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're there.
Whoa. What's going on here?
Dang, I wish we had that on video.
Shoulders.
Right. Make sure.
I'm sick.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
also, highly
you're excited.
enticed.
Yeah. It's just how it happens.
Shoulders.
I'm strangely aroused somehow. August 29th at 7 o'clock at Rosendale. Make sure you're in there. Brother Ben will be back with us next week. He'll definitely need to be back.
We kind
'cause-
of missed you, Ben, but not a lot.
I mean, we did a bit. All right, so anyways. Guys, we'll talk to you next week. Until then, shit!
Ow.